You have made this very long, weeks-long journey, hundreds of leagues out of the north, from the borders of Dwarvenheim, the north of Scandia, all the way down to Tuscany, tracking what you hope is the trail of Ragnar Coldbane. The journey is so difficult that Manjouet has lost
8 pounds.
8 pounds and has lost 8 hit points. And Agnes has lost 18 pounds,
That's okay.
7 hit points, and has lost any digit of her choice to frostbite.
Ooh. Oh,
I'll
man.
pick your middle finger because you need to flip off more.
Yeah.
Time.
I will lose a pinky because
Yeah.
who fucking needs those?
And
And I don't really.
What
I use a
happens when you drink
crossbow,
tea?
so I'm fine.
Yeah.
Drink it
Okay.
with
Just
the other
one-
hand.
Yeah.
So there is some.
What if you're not ambidextrous?
I'll lose her left
Left
pinky.
You need to be ambidextrous to drink tea with your other hand.
So there's some lingering damage, and the rest of you have felt the conditions of your deprivation physically. You feel tired. You have stopped speaking just out of boredom and
How many
and
pounds, sorry,
fatigue.
did I lose?
19.
18. You're pretty thin now.
Yeah.
But you have this journey has weighed heavily on you. Just the drudgery of it. You have eaten things that you never wanted to eat. You've been colder than you ever thought you would be. But finally, you come into the south of Scandia and journey through several villages, which allow you to put on a little bit more weight. But of course, you're still journeying to try to get to Tuscany. Finally, you arrive at the Wieland River, which is the major sort of river thoroughfare that Tuscany is on, and you find a nice ferryman who takes you across the river, which is hundreds of yards wide. Finally, you are dropped off at the pier at an area of Tuscany called the Wieland River District, and you find yourself looking at a relatively unactive pier, relatively unoccupied. There's not much in the way of traffic. But you notice that
Water.
it dawns on you that having reached quote-unquote civilization, that for the past several weeks it has not been getting any warmer. And you're now in the southern part of the kingdom, and this surprises you. And in fact, you see people bundled up and shivering here and there, gathered around fires. But as you come through the gates, you see that there's a guard tower before you with a sort of decorative arch. There's guards standing on either side of the roadway. There's guards as well up in the ramparts of the tower. There's some kind of stage to the left, where there's some sort of festive activities going on. There's a couple of really dead-eyed looking whores that are grinding suggestively up on the stage while people are gathered around. But neither performers nor audience are particularly excited. There's people selling in the marketplace, but they're more or less standing there. They're not barking. You see signs of a demoralized city. You see all the activities that you'd normally expect to see going on, but not being pursued in any kind of a spirited way.
Yeah, 'cause it's fucking cold.
Can you return to whether or not we regained our hit points that we lost in the last battle?
You did,
and
but
then
you're,
lose hit
that's
points
right. So
again?
you
Okay.
were up to full strength, but then
Alright.
you're back
And
down
then back
because
down.
of the arduousness
We
of
got
this
our
journey.
rest. And
Better
then-
than where I was.
And could everyone give me perception checks?
Yeah,
13.
these dice aren't gonna fuck me.
8.
12.
Well,
Unnatural
I'm
20.
tiny. I don't see anything.
God, I'm so out of it.
I see most things.
yes.
That's
Ten.
putting you on our
Thanks.
shoulders.
So
gods
Morgan
have
and to
you.
some
Okay.
extent Kajal, you notice that the people are sort of moving in stiff-limbed ways, indicating that they've been enduring this cold for a long time. And you also notice just that the limbs themselves are quite thin. The people are thin. The people are not starving, but they're thin. And they're bundled up. They're bundled up with everything, and no one cares about fashion. Everybody's just wrapped whatever garments they have around them. And you notice there's people selling things in the marketplace for lower prices than you think you've ever seen. People are giving away fish for sort of silver pieces. And people selling objects that you wouldn't expect them to sell because you think they'd be valuable elsewhere, or some family heirlooms. And it's a very strange ambiance in the city. Tell me what you do.
We just say thank God Isha's not
I
here.
would immediately inquire as to any form of
Southern
post office, anywhere I could get a letter
Oh, yeah.
sent somewhere.
Okay. So tell me, you're coming through the gates as a party, I assume.
Yeah.
Who do you ask this of?
Pick a person, any person.
Probably a guard.
Okay. So you come up to the guard and you say what?
Hello, fine sir. Hello, madam.
Who
Depending.
are you?
He sort of takes off his steel cap and he looks down at you and you notice his eyes are bloodshot and he's very pale. But you get his attention because he recognizes your Nordic accent.
We few have come a rather long journey. I'm sure we'll be looking for lodging, and I was wondering if I could inquire as to a post office or some form of communications
Career.
carrier.
He looks at you and he says, "You come to the city not at a good time. I do not know what services are still in place. We have not been paid for many weeks. There is on the other side of the Dharma fountain the Skribetrad, the scribes row, where they have scribes, jewelers, clerks. They might be able to help you there.
Thank you.
Have a nice day, Mr. Dwarf."
You too.
And he puts his cap back on.
It's a cat.
That was actually a character. We're gonna go like.
Yeah, but then what I said was in character too. Jackass. Oh, obviously, my hood's still up. I would have done my best to groom, but, you know, the ice and stuff makes it hard to.
Right. You are noticing a couple of people turning around looking at you, being a large group of newcomers.
Well, we should probably find some place to get out of the
Well,
cold.
I need to send this letter, so would anyone like to help me to the other side of town to find someone to send the
Fine.
Ooh.
I was gonna say someone who probably speaks Nordic should go.
Well, someone who speaks Nordic should stay with the rest of the group, since no one else does.
Good point.
I don't know why we'd send off the 2 people who speak Nordic and leave the rest of
And
you
since there are no
unattended.
other volunteer, I'll go.
I
Okay.
go.
Oh, look, we got another volunteer.
Oh, jeez.
It doesn't make sense for you to go if you're the only one who can communicate besides him.
While
No,
you're
I'm
talking
not.
amongst themselves, there's a
I'm the only
smattering of
Oh,
I'm
I was
applause.
saying
volunteer.
that you spoke Nordic.
There's a
Yeah.
smattering of applause from the audience in front
I
of the
was wondering why
stage,
you
and
spoke
the two sort of dancing girls kind of are escorted off. And there's a brief pause, but then an old woman comes onto the stage, and she kind of shuffles to the center of the stage. She kind of looks over a little bit at you, but then she keeps going. And a sort of barker that's at the edge of the stage steps up and goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, for your entertainment, you all know Rubati, the Harridan, mistress of serpents." And this old woman comes forward, and she has a basket, and she plucks it down. She looks out at the audience, and she kind of points her kind of wrinkled, knuckled finger that's with a crooked nail. She points at everybody to get their attention. You notice she has like one eye that's larger.
Sequence
Yes,
wandered
see.
over a little closer and is kind of.
It's Isha's crap.
Then she pulls out a musical instrument of some kind. She starts to play, and a serpent starts coming up out of the basket. And there's several serpents coming up.
Out of sadness for missing Isha, I think I would actually
Yeah.
make my way over there.
Yeah,
I thought you
Yeah.
were going to the courier.
But
We
like,
got a little
I'm,
distracted.
I'm,
That was before this happened.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking about Isha now, so I don't think
Well, I was
Aw,
gonna.
Snake's
I was-
reminding you of
would
Isha.
wander over.
And at length, there's 3 or 4 sort of serpents swaying in unison to the music. And actually, after a while, the old crone stops playing the music, and she starts sort of whistling and uses her hand. And she has these 4 serpents, and then there's 5, and then there's 3, and they're doing these very sort of interesting synchronized movements, and everybody's kind of enthralled, even though they're kind of.
I actually don't reckon say Morgan probably wouldn't care that much. He's like, oh, look, snakes.
You actually notice for a second that she's looking over at you, But at that moment, a merchant comes over from his stall where he's selling like really rotten vegetables. Says, I couldn't help noticing, sir, that you said you had a letter that you wanted to send. I'd be happy to take care of that for you. I can take it over to the scribes and make sure it is going to be sent for just a very reasonable fee.
I appreciate your
Enthusiasm.
Does he say this in Nordic?
Yes.
okay, so only we understand.
Well,
Offer?
Offer, a little, a little.
kind of offer.
I realize
but,
I have 17 health when
I think I can handle it. I appreciate that. Could you point me in the right direction?
By all means, it is just over to the right on the far side of the Hardango temple. You'll find the Varma fountain, and you get this sort of 3-story apartment beyond that is the shops of the scribes
Thank you very
and
much.
the learned folk of all kinds. You have a pleasant day, Mr. Dwarf.
And you as well. Also, kind sir.
You as well, also. Thanks.
There's another smattering
Who
of applause.
are you?
There's another smattering of applause,
So
and
uncomfortable here.
you see the crone gather up her basket and her serpents and kind of leaves, and there's a new group of sort of a clown and a juggler take the.
yes.
But you actually notice that a serpent
That
has
is very
escaped the
Asian.
basket, and it's kind of slithering, and it's slithering off the stage, and it sort of disappears amongst the feet of the audience, and several audience members are like,
Agnes is like, yes, be free, child, be free. Run,
Secret
slither.
watching the crowd react to track the path.
Yeah.
actually, give me a perception check.
Slither, my child.
It's a 12 again. How does that even happen?
I'll
Okay.
also roll a perception.
You actually lose sight of
Probability.
the snake, and the
Well, I
crowd.
wasn't watching the snake. I was
Yeah.
watching the crowd.
And the crowd sort of, you are able
Yeah.
to sort of see these gaps appear, and then pretty soon it's chaos, and then the juggler becomes the center of attention.
We're gonna slip away and go.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow Kajal because he's actually curious now about
All right,
learned
so
folk.
where is Kajal going, and what are the rest of you doing at the same time?
I'm going towards the. I assume that's the fountain.
Well, I guess.
Yes.
So in that.
Morgron? Where's Morgron?
More wrong. Right,
Morgron.
yeah, you got it.
We're
So
gonna
do you
walk.
walk you walk over from the reviews?
Yeah, so we're just gonna go beeline. I don't know if anyone else is following us.
Actually, there is a very faded sign on the
Kajal
back.
and
I'll
It
follow
says-
Yes,
you.
Morgan's
Yeah.
like
it says,
Morgan
"Tourist
after the crowd thinks he's
review."
getting bored. He's like, "Can we just send her?"
You
I'll
have no
follow
idea what that
I'll
means.
follow too.
So everyone, I guess we're all going.
No, I do not want. That's too much.
No.
It's too many people going to the
Do
same
you
place.
want
Alright, well, you have to say
inquire
something
about,
otherwise. We're so
lodging,
cold,
since
we just don't.
You're the only other one who can
Swimming.
speak Nordic.
Sure. Where were we pointed to? About?
I don't think we were actually pointed to anywhere about lodging.
So
No, he didn't answer that part.
those of you that, as soon as you pass the threshold, either underneath the gate or come past the towers, which one of you have red banner badges on your person? Kajal, Morgan.
Technically, Morgan has one, but I don't know if he wouldn't wear it out in display.
Where did
That is one.
Oh, how did she get there?
Kajal does.
Then
Does
I'll-
she
then I'm
have
looking
a-
for-
do you have a red banner badge?
She does, but it's inside her like armor.
Yeah, I wear it.
Yeah, Morgan probably.
So
has
you
one.
actually feel the heat near your skin,
Morgan has
and then it becomes unbearably hot, and then it becomes unbearably cold, and you feel very strange.
Do we all feel that?
What?
Well, you're not
People
wearing
have
a badge.
Well, I have it.
Yeah,
It's inside my
Oh
clothes.
shit! We were supposed to do a ceremony.
Shit, we were supposed to do that.
Oh,
We never talked about it.
We'll have to retcon that.
Yeah, we'll retcon.
So what does Kajal do with this curious sensation?
Well, you're with me, right?
Yeah, so I probably feel it too.
So I don't feel it?
Well,
You
you're not
do.
wearing your badge.
Yes, it's inside my clothes.
Oh, then you do.
Yeah,
Yours is packed away.
Do you
No, his is not.
react?
He was.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then
So
you
we all.
feel-
Yeah, we're all
Okay.
feel
feeling
a
it.
strange piercing cold from the from the badge.
Are we
We'll
all?
eat first,
Are
then
we
eat
assuming
first.
that we
We've been-
retconned and
of
therefore
the
we have
ritual.
badges? As
Do we
well?
all have? Yeah. Do
We
we all
wouldn't
have?
have
Would you have given
badges.
us? No, we wouldn't.
We don't have
We
any way
made
to
out of
We
the
wouldn't- we would-
Seagrin made makeshift badges for out of the
Right.
swathe of
Right. What was it?
Feldrin's red, the little stuff
Yes.
of her red dress.
That's right.
So
That's
be-
what you had said.
So I guess we're all wearing them somewhere on our person.
But yours not being metal.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they're
Right.
not.
Yes.
I'm saying also maybe not because they're not original.
That's
Yeah,
true.
right.
So I would stop at that
Also,
moment.
Agnes wouldn't wear metal anyway.
Did you
Right
just?
now.
Ow!
Are you okay?
Oh, you didn't do it.
I don't know.
What happened?
You felt the badge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something with my badge.
You would
A heat
probably
and then
take
a
it off and
cold.
like
Something
drop
was
it for a
wrong.
second.
It's ice cold in your hand. and you actually wonder whether you have frostburn from the contact.
Weird.
It
It'd be on the
falls
ground.
and it rattles and it sort of tankles across the cobblestone. You actually notice some people are kind of looking at you, having thrown this down. Somebody
I'll
goes,
feel it.
I have mine. Fucking hurts.
2 silver, 3 silver for that.
Grab it.
No need to be angry.
I have a lot to be angry about. You don't want to know.
Wait,
What's he
what?
say?
Tell them I'm very angry
It
about
must
many
be some
things.
sort of magic.
We're both very angry about many things.
So are we all. It's not a
doubt
good time in the city.
It must
Sir.
be. I don't know if it's a warning.
I doubt that they would want Red Banner here.
Well, absolutely not.
Give me yours. I'll stuff it in our bags.
Hopefully, it wasn't a warning.
Do you want it to burn? You're
So where are you all? Where are you all
I'm
gathered?
nervous.
You're right in front of the tower there.
I'm done. I'm
Two-
done
two-
speaking.
one
I
group is
realize
there,
I'm
the other
correct,
group is
yeah.
over there.
No.
The Agnes group,
Okay.
the Morgan, John, Agnes group is probably right now debating about putting the banners in bags.
At that moment, you before you can proceed any further, there's an awful sort of stink in the air just for a minute, as a horse-drawn wagon goes by
It is that.
It is
with
that.
Dead
bodies
people.
in the back, and you actually catch a glimpse of bodies that are partially decayed but seem to be frozen now in the back, and that goes by. And you notice there's a woman standing in front of that very large building to the right of the guard tower, who kind of shakes her head as it goes past, and then she sees you and goes, "Oh, newcomers! Do you need rooms? Sir, do you need rooms?"
That's in character.
Wait, from here?
Yes.
She's talking to us.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
you
yes.
guys are there and we're here. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
She comes across the street. She meets you halfway. Says,
Um,
"Oh, newcomers, do you need accommodations?"
yes.
What are the different groups?
Where
Yeah.
You're with some.
what can you tell us?
She says, "Oh, well, do come back if you need it. This is where my name is Astrid Andelheim, and I run the Tronvik guest house. You'd be most welcome. We are currently unoccupied."
Is
There's
that
like a hint of desperation
Please.
in her voice.
Excuse me, do you speak common?
By all means, yes.
Excellent. Would you mind repeating exactly what you told that gentleman?
So you have come over from your group.
I was
No,
with
she
no,
was-
I
She
was
no,
with
she
them.
was with us.
Yeah, she says, an offer of a room. We are currently empty in this very strange
You
time.
know upstairs.
I have 4 rooms, 2 sitting rooms, a warm fire with as much wood as I can afford. Astrid is the name. Astrid Andelheim. At your service.
Amble, I like that.
Agnes,
Do you like that?
Trench.
Very good. I'm glad you like it. My father was very fond of the name. He died very young. But he did live in this guest house.
I like Astrid.
It is an honor.
Don't we all?
Are you with the other dwarves that are here?
Could you direct me to the other door?
Oh, yeah. I just sent a letter.
Yes.
All of a sudden, when you say that, when you don't immediately answer yes, she draws back and she says, "Oh, I wouldn't know where they are now." So,
No, this could be very important to me.
They've been talking to that woman over there for a very long time.
please, sir, forget that. I said nothing. You did not hear from me.
We'll ask later. In private.
Please come. I'll give you a discount rate.
Don't worry about discounts. Just tell us what you say, what you're talking about the dwarves. We'll pay full price for information in a room.
How many rooms do we want?
All of them.
All of a sudden, she goes, "Wonderful. I shall make the bed."
She's just watching this.
Yeah, we're
Yes,
all
and
She's
right.
pointing
Expensive.
now, and she's gonna start walking over
Yes,
there
hold on.
because
What's happening?
that woman looks
Yeah.
very excited about
Excited.
something
So-
that you just said.
And I don't know
all
why
of a sudden she
anyone would
turns
be-
and she goes sort of trotting back to her guest house and she starts yelling for a maid to make the beds. But she glances over at Sigrun, who's walking across the street, and she does a double take. And then she keeps going.
Okay.
Do I?
There.
I'm gonna
I'll
roll
do your
to see if I
information.
saw
Just
that.
send fucking letters. I'll take care of the
I'm not 20 to see if I saw
Holy
that.
Yeah,
shit,
you
you saw
definitely
that.
saw it. You definitely saw the double take. And you saw it from the back. You saw the head turn twice. So you-
Also,
I missed it because I was squinting at Morgan.
I need to spend it.
See, mine got stolen. Mine always gets stolen.
I have 184 gold. I need to spend
All
it.
of my gold got stolen.
You do. You need to lighten your load.
I had to.
I can literally be like, here's 100.
How much
This
gold
bitch
do I
stole
have?
my money. And my stolen. Alright. So. Are you sticking with us still? after that, as they come over,
Do you need me?
And here, I'm gonna give you about half my gold. See how much she needs. Give her 90 GP because I have too much money on me.
Okay. Excellent.
Oh, we got free money now.
I would walk with you, but I'm very skinny now.
Go warm up. Go get some food. Find out how many rooms I actually ended up buying, and then we'll talk in there in private. I paid for privacy.
Or might
On the
have
tower,
closed
on the
the
tower.
tower, yeah. Glenn, were
So-
these
Okay,
flags on the outside of the tower like this?
Yeah, they're somewhere there.
I tried.
Yeah.
So you can have them.
So
then.
those of you that have crossed that main street, you
Yes.
can see periodically there's a road sign that says Crit Street. And there's another road sign at the sort
Something's
of
not
grand
right.
kiosk at the intersection. It refers to this as Middle Lane. But you cross
Oh, it's
Cret
the weight.
Street. And which way are
Yeah,
you
top.
going? Are you going are you going here? Are you going up?
We're gonna
going
go right. We're going
through
towards.
right past the church.
Okay.
towards
We're gonna go right to
So-
the fountain,
yeah.
basically.
So you, as you're passing between the temple and the building beside it, you notice that there are two sort of robed men, sort of wearing these plain kind of burlap robes, and they're standing by a fountain. And the fountain is, for the most part, frozen, and they're kind of looking at it, kind of shaking their heads, and then sort of chatting idly and looking around. But as Kajal and Morgan and is Agnes is with them?
No, she's
I gave half my gold to
I'm
Agnes and said,
thinking
"Go
we
warm up."
probably
Okay.
meet you.
We meet up with you.
So
and
they're gonna
we
meet
ask
up.
you what happened.
So
We're
for the record,
we're at the corner here, and if you're coming back, so
Okay.
Agnes would have
I
been
love this
extremely
See
stoic
you?
about losing her
See with me,
finger.
please.
Okay. All right. So it's just Morgan and Kajal then. Okay. And Agnes, what's Agnes? Is she going into the guest house?
And
she's meeting
taking-
us on the corner.
Yeah,
And-
Oh,
she's
meeting
on
at the corner.
And
Okay.
yeah.
handling the
Seagram's
trains.
like, so what was that all about?
Yeah.
So
Well, first of all, she knows you. I don't know how, but she recognized you. Just thought you should know. We also seem to have rented out all the rooms.
All of them.
Yeah.
That was Morgan, wasn't it?
That's why she looked so happy.
Yes. So we will have privacy.
Did he get a deal on it at least?
No,
Yeah.
Is there food?
I should hope so. I'm very skinny.
I'm very
Yes.
sad.
Also,
I am
Meta, I
skinnier
fucking paid for food.
Look better.
I am skinnier too. I do not like to be skinny.
No.
Hashtag priorities.
I guess Morgan's done my job for me then.
I feel like a twig.
How many times have you been able to say that?
What?
She just quietly under her breath said, "I feel like a twig."
A twig?
It's
Um,
funny because nature.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. Somebody
Oh my
got
god.
it. Somebody got it.
Charlie Brown's Christmas tree over here.
Yep, certainly.
So you're sitting there, you're sitting at that corner kind of bantering,
That's funny.
and then you also pick up that strange stink of decay, frozen decomposition in the air as the wagon disappears up the street. But as Kajal and Morgan thread their way between the temple and the large sort of building that it backs onto, they see two robed men that are probably acolytes at the temple, and they're kind of poking the frost and the ice in the fountain. And
Okay, can I do 2
they
checks?
look up at you. Yeah.
One, perception on the fountain and or arcana.
Okay.
Those are 2 separate rolls.
Well, I didn't put them here.
I'm gonna roll on religion and see if I recognize what order they're from. Is there any like symbol to go off of, or is it just really plain?
So give me your check.
Alright, so 18 on perception.
Okay.
This is for Glenn. And 19 for arcana.
Okay. So you actually on the fountain itself.
Yes.
The fountain is a relatively plain, well-carved marble fountain, but it's not solidly frozen, but the top of it is frozen. It's not obviously working. It's not gurgling away because it's completely frozen. Nothing about the carving appears to be magical. It's just decorative, as far as you can tell.
12 for religion.
Yeah. So you had a fairly good look at the temple when you were crossing the street, and then you saw the front of it, and then just as you sort of pass the fountain, you can see the other side of it. And you can see that it is a Nordic central city temple that you've seen before. There's 4 statues on the buttresses, 2 on each side. The statues are easily recognizable to you. The ones on the left side are Odin and Thor, and the 2 on the other side are Tyr and Baldur. And there is a tapestry on the front-facing wall that is the image of Sif.
Oh,
Cool. Sorry.
As you
Claps for my
pass
old
between,
character.
as you pass between the temple and the building, you notice one of the clerics kind of looks up at you and he kind of walks up and goes, Valerie? Sorry, Mom.
Sorry. What time of day is it?
That's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I'll do like a classic
This
dwarven,
is like dinner
dwarven
time,
bow, like,
like-
good afternoon, gentlemen. Would you know
You have-
I know,
dinner
supper time.
comes before
supper.
supper.
Supper. So it's
where I
dinner.
could send a letter?
Dinner. Supper's like 7.
By all means,
Yeah,
if you try the scribe's office, in the apartments on the far side of the fountain,
What about second breakfast?
the
11 C's,
scribe's name is
luncheon,
Khaled.
afternoon tea, dinner,
P-L-L.
supper.
Yeah. Supper is
I-G.
the
Midnight
late
snack.
Want to write that down for you?
The,
If you stay up
Are you gonna write down?
or if you wake up.
Bring in some American culture.
Communal penalty
Americanized hobbit.
I guess we should go inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically Monjwe asks you,
Me?
yes, have you paid her?
That is the scribe's name.
No, I just have a stack of money.
What?
So I said,
No, I assumed she paid her.
Well, she went inside before you could, I
And
think.
That's right.
before walking away,
so I just say, give me the
um,
money,
I'm gonna inquire as to.
and I take it from you, and I just walk towards the inn.
Alright, okay.
So Monjwe is walking to the inn with the money,
And
wherever the hell it is.
Okay,
it's right
That
there.
big thing.
Okay.
okay.
And we're following because
Following,
that was the
yeah.
plan to go
Yeah,
inside.
that's
So are
fine.
you going into the inn?
Yes.
Okay, so you're walking
The
into
big
the inn.
reveal.
You want to just take the, there's not much to see, but you can take the roof off.
I think he's
Yeah.
As you can see,
Where's she?
I might need some money.
Where's our bay?
Oh,
I have 94
bay.
gold on him.
Yeah, that's true.
And several.
She
so
looks very upset.
So cozy in there.
Her face.
Well, shit, there's so much
Let's
to
do
do.
it.
We have
She's
guests
doing the-
now. We have guests
I mean,
now.
what if I were
We haven't had guests
perpetually
in years.
sleeping?
as you walk in, you see that Astrid is kind of furiously running around getting linens together,
Mhm.
and a young woman that looks very much like her, so much so that you're left with no doubt that it's her daughter, is chatting with a man who is obviously in official city livery, an officer of some kind. And she kind of scowls disapprovingly at this, but then when she sees you walk in, she says, "I almost have your rooms ready. Just 5 more minutes. Just 5 more minutes." And she
With the
dashes
bag of
into
money?
the bag.
Okay.
What was
I
Kajal?
was gonna try and
I
nail
was
her.
going to
Offer some
actually
help. All of them.
mention that I may not be the dwarf you were looking for, but
This conversation in Nordic, by the
He
way.
says, "Oh, my name is Rolf. I'm not looking for any divorce."
the name, what was that name you
Definitely
just
not looking
mentioned?
for any divorce.
It was a cold air, a frost. Awful. Have you not felt it?
I don't know what he's saying, but I think he's lying.
You don't.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
Can you do a perception check?
Do a couple things. Oh wow, 18.
Roll again.
Fucker. 6.
You cannot tell whether he's lying.
Well,
Even with such a lame excuse.
whether you are or not looking for dwarves,
Dwarves are welcome, are always welcome.
I'm sure they are. I really appreciate that. By the way, my name is Kajal.
Joe.
If you ever need any assistance or anything, you can always let me know.
May I ask your plan?
Why is that suddenly interesting?
I am friend to all dwarves.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't understand
I am
it.
Did you just say better lie, boo?
Very good. It is my honor.
Mine
They
as
know
well.
it.
Have a good day. Put back on. Go
So you notice that Rolf kind of walks back over to the other acolyte and they kind of speak in hushed voices.
So Monroy just heads
Shady
straight for the
apples.
kitchen.
Well, Rock
Okay.
can describe.
So the kitchen is actually, it's really a kind of a makeshift setup. It's pots hanging over the fireplace, but there's a fair number of pots, and there's kind of a rack of ingredients, and there's various pans on the wall. And you actually, it's the warmest you've been in weeks when you walk into this room.
Right. Okay.
I think I know what she's doing, so I follow.
Okay. And actually, yeah, I could see Majorie walking in this and going, oh, thank God.
What
I'm so
habit-sized rooms available?
Following her.
No, are she happy I bought the entire inn?
So you guys actually passed by the temple, and you see the sort of cul-de-sac
Are you
where
thinking
there's
what I'm thinking? I think
the
that's
fountain
what
that was obviously
she's
referred to, and you
Very
notice that
necessary
it is
of the
kind of
rooms.
glowing.
Oh wait, that was a different fountain?
Yeah, there's a little fountain between the alleyway.
Oh, then I want to look
I
at that
say-
one again.
Yeah, that's what he meant.
That's what I meant to
See,
look
yeah,
at.
so have a look. There's a little hand
These
fountain.
people cannot make
Yeah,
noodles.
because that
I
one looked
see
like
it.
it's glowing, and I'm assuming that's in
Noodles?
the scene.
Oh.
Yes,
So
that's the large fountain.
Yeah,
you
so
don't
I'm gonna
know
do
You
an.
haven't gotten there yet.
Oh,
Okay.
well,
Well, as we come up there.
Yeah, you actually notice there's some women and townsfolk and children gathered around the fountain,
the glowing
and they're
one.
taking water. And as you approach, you can see there's steam coming off the fountain.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely gonna
Is
do
this
our
a
channel on
child or
that one.
another little person?
That's
Oh.
a child.
Oh,
It's regrettably not a hobbit.
I know there's some
Oh.
hobbits.
But
here.
you're being looked at, but not too strangely.
I'll roll the 9
There's
for
doors.
on that one.
Probably just in the door.
Yeah, as you approach, you
A
don't
very
get any kind of a magical
less
aura.
hairy
Nothing strikes you as
cleaner,
unusual about
slight,
it, but it
Slender. Yeah.
doesn't take much to realize that it's a hot spring. Of some kind. Probably
Dwarf
volcanic.
adjacent.
Jason,
So-
exactly.
You
So
can
they're
actually
not-
see the
not
buildup of
interested.
calcium and other things on the edge of the fountain. And there's these gargoyle kind of
Oh,
statues.
they're
They're
so
kind of
freaking cute.
they're kind of grotesque,
They're
but they're
cute.
not.
But I just said they're so cute.
I sort of that. There's one over here too.
Adorably.
So,
grotesque.
Adorably
when
grotesque.
Monjoy and
Mhm.
Majorie go into the kitchen room, which is not a kitchen, the hearth. Go
Yes.
to the hearth.
Mhm.
So we'll repeat the conversation.
Okay. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I think it'll be a while before food, since Astrid's so busy setting up our rooms.
Yes, and these people cannot make noodles.
Noodles?
Can you please explain? Because it just sounds like something scandalous to me.
Noodles.
Oh my god, I have a
Nude.
good story for after we're done here.
We all just like gravitate to the kitchen, like
yeah, it's
So,
warm.
Seagram's like, "Where's my bread?"
I
you know.
say scandalous.
Naked.
You look perfect.
Nude is another word for naked.
Noodles are food.
You know, I'm not judging.
So I
I think
just
you should
pull
just
out
go
So,
some
straight.
hold
dried
on, hold on.
noodles.
That moment that a 2017 conversation got into our five fantasy comparisons
I'm
of
not
names.
kink shaming your food.
Not king shaming. No king
I don't
shaming
even
here.
know what king shaming is. So I just pull out some dried noodles and hold them, and then put them aside and go and try to find some water.
What are these made of?
So at that moment, Astrid passes by the doorway, peering in at you as you're over the pots and pans and the hearth, and goes, "I'm not paying you for that." And she keeps going.
So I go, rice.
Right. Oh, yeah, no rice.
But I say it in whatever, and I say it in Mandarin or
And I
whatever,
butcher
because
whatever you just
there
said.
is no
repeating it back
English
to you
word,
for
common
it.
word.
For
Yeah.
it. Mhm.
Just wait.
Okay.
And so I go to find water so I can boil it to make noodles, which
I
I'm
kinda
assuming
love, like,
exists.
Characters discovering food in our campaign. Like
deal.
when we were in Sumaria, Sigrun discovered an orange, but she just bit into it.
I didn't know.
But then, like, after Isha showed her how to eat it, it was her favorite.
She was
thing.
like,
That's not actually the worst thing.
No, there are worse
It
things,
can
but
be
like that's pretty
interesting to
terrible.
find an orange rind. Yeah.
Yeah.
there are
All of a
worse
sudden, out
rhymes.
in the
That's
foyer,
pretty-
you hear
everywhere.
Astrid and her daughter kind of squealing a little bit and stomping about. You hear some commotion.
I'm going to go now.
Yeah, Seagram's already.
Yeah.
So you step
Go
out
to
into
the
the
door.
foyer and you see Astrid swiping with a broom at some sort of large, sort of long black snake that's
It's
on
a
the
It's a
freaking
snake.
that's
snake.
on the floor, and she's shooing it out the door.
Shoot.
And it keeps trying to get back in, and she's shooing it out the door.
Yeah, I'm gonna cast.
Do something naturey.
Yeah. I have the spells for this. I'm gonna cast Speak with Animals.
Oh my goodness!
Right.
So, you know.
Do I have that? I got that too. Wow.
Oh.
Cast. Speak with animals.
I don't know where I'm
Ooh,
at.
meat.
So what's the casting time on that?
Let me check.
I do not even care, and I
Got
just
it
keep
here.
looking for water to
Speak with
boil.
animals. It's one action. Okay.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, it's an
Pass them
action.
over. Garrett wants them.
And it lasts for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Where they belong.
So you sort of take a moment to center yourself and sort of conjure your druidic sensibilities and reach out with your mind and sort of link with the animal consciousness, and all of a sudden you feel a sort of strange queasiness. Your vision starts to get blurry. The rest of you watch as you start to see Agnes sort of teetering on her feet, dizzily, and then she starts to fall forward.
So you're gonna catch her.
Dexterity check.
Oh
Jack.
my.
Can you actually catch her?
Kill it with fire.
Fire!
I'm gonna
Its
kill it.
mind is
I'm gonna
poisonous.
I'm gonna kill it.
15.
So you're able to catch Agnes, and Agnes, you have blacked out.
Wow.
Ooh.
You are unconscious.
Like, what the
And,
hell?
and Agnes falls completely limp into your arms, Sigrid.
Okay, gonna lower her to the ground.
Kill
Kill it.
Time for noodle.
Do I hear
and throw a dagger.
I was just about to
this?
say, I
At
definitely.
the serpent?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the serpent.
So,
Perception check.
15 again.
okay, so you miss. Your dagger
Really?
sticks in the floor, and the serpent actually circles it twice, and then disappears behind a floorboard
What a
in the
little
room.
bitch.
Damn.
You're now stuck in a house with one snake that can black you out.
Entirely no
Okay.
fucking snakes
These
in
are
the
not
fucking inn.
I roll a 10 for perception to see if I actually hear any of this.
So, okay,
14.
and you do hear it.
Okay.
Okay.
I hear
You
you
heard,
then.
you heard, you
So
heard Agnes collapsing to the floor.
I
And-
lose.
Sigrun's wrenching up her dagger and then going to check on Agnes.
Agnes is her eyes are fluttering open again, and you sort of feel your balance regained as you stare at the ceiling, and you feel like something has happened in your mind, some sort of alteration in your thought, some sort of infiltration in
You
your
and
consciousness
Yeah.
has taken place.
What happened?
I just feel like compromised
You feel
psychically.
compromised. You feel well phrased. You feel,
I have been
compromised.
psychically
Yeah.
compromised.
Yes.
That's what you said, exactly.
That's literally what she said.
And you are absolutely certain that that was not just a snake.
I am absolutely certain that was not just a snake.
Yeah, now
I love the
it's
quoting verbatim.
under the floorboard somewhere.
Well, it must be killed. And probably also the
So,
woman who charmed
at
it.
the fountain,
Yeah,
Neat.
we
at the
definitely
fountain,
the
you
same
notice
one.
that there's people taking warm water up out of the fountain, and they're carrying away sort of steaming jugs, and some people are putting their hands in the water, kind of trying to warm up, and people are coming and going.
I'm gonna fill my water skin.
Yeah,
I don't know about it.
Fill your water skin.
There's sort of mineral fumes coming off it.
It smells sulfury.
It's hot water.
It'll cool down fast enough
Plus,
around
remember,
here.
I have the water skin that only has elder water.
So you see a very round
At that moment,
space.
you notice, Kajal and Morgan, that you were being watched from the balcony of
Which
the,
balcony?
Which one?
two
Scribe.
apartments.
Oh, the scribe from the
Yeah,
scribe.
the high one.
From the same house we were directed.
That you're
Okay.
going to, yeah.
Let's go there anyway.
Okay. Okay, true.
As you approach, you see that there's a sort of sign painted on the wall, and it's a sort of directory, and it says Gunivore Goldsmith, Palig Scribe and Clark, Hafnir Broker, Frobjorn Teamster, and Aldous the Clothier. and there's different
our actual
numbers on the
house.
apartments.
Yeah, meadow.
Oh, you want to like eat it up?
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Go
Go-
into
can I
go up to the
just-
palace door.
You
Palace door.
let
Medium
Oregon
So,
to your
all
left,
go
You,
around.
you enter in
far
and you
left
actually have to pass through.
That's where
You have to
the-
pass
They're
through a
grown
jewelry
men.
shop.
They
You have
shouldn't
to
need
pass through a
babysitting.
broker's
Do you need a
office.
microwave?
But you announce your intentions and you get escorted
Yeah,
up to
just
the
look on the bottoms. to see.
the building on
There
the
are a
third
couple that are
floor,
micros.
farthest on the left.
Okay.
You knock on the door,
Heard something knocked down?
and
Was
the
it
door
something
opens,
big?
and there's a man sitting
Oh,
in
no.
a sort of book-lined room with a large sort of carved desk, and there's sort of thick, waxy candles sort of melting, and he's sort of bent over all these sort of manuscripts that are there, and he barely looks up and goes, yes.
I need to send a letter.
Do you need it written, or have you composed it?
I will compose it right now.
Please do so, and do you wish me to have this delivered? Is that what you want?
Yes.
Yes. Carry on.
Can I write it for you? No. You taught me well enough.
Okay, I'm making sure.
Plus you can't write in the morning.
You can teach me.
Oh, that's really okay.
Not in 5 minutes, he's not.
No. So then I will take out a piece of paper and a pencil, write just kind of a quick note, and then at the end, stamp it with.
Do you want to give me the note? Do you want to write the note and actually give it to me?
That just happened to me.
So, back at the guest house, Agnes, you have a distinct impression that some consciousness is inside your mind probing your thoughts.
You have like
Um,
a neo worm thing.
yeah, I'm
This is
trying to
second
think
nature,
what I
right?
can do.
Seagrin's really feeling Isha's absence
this
right
is
now.
Yeah.
You're a parcel tongue, Agnes.
You're not there.
On the upside, you sense that whatever's probing you is probing you through the mind of the snake.
Oh wow.
So there was a buffer of some kind.
So this, it can only be filtered through the snake's
You don't
intelligence.
feel directly exposed.
Yeah.
The
But you
snake is a
feel-
conduit.
Yeah, you feel indirectly
So I'm
exposed.
going to think about all the things that snakes really fucking don't like, and so I'm gonna I don't think I know about mongoose.
I was about to say.
I wish Agnes knew about. All right.
Don't
Do
say
you
it.
know much about
Hiss it.
snakes? Is the question.
She definitely knows about
She-
snakes.
okay.
I mean, like they're everywhere.
Right.
She,
Imagine if roasting on a spit.
yeah, she's gonna think about
Snake leather belts.
all the things that are extremely
Snake leather
uncomfortable
shoes.
for snakes, like
Like trying to swallow
I
something.
don't
big,
like
large.
the birds.
I was gonna say, don't certain birds eat snakes?
Yeah,
Birds,
like
yeah.
the birds of prey
Hawks,
that
eagles.
eat them.
Right.
She's gonna think of boiling water because for some reason,
All right. Can you give me a wisdom check?
She's hungry.
yeah,
Come on, girl.
Fire.
I was just talking about eating snake.
they're like, I mean, they're cold-blooded. She should have known they weren't supposed to be in this environment.
Are you still
16.
lying on the floor?
16. Okay, so you quite successfully focus your mind on this, and you actually stumble across the sense that it's not really those things, but just the fact of the cold is making the snake extremely uncomfortable. And you you intuit that that's actually why it came into the house, but that it sort of it came to you with some purpose in the room. But you managed to sort of defend yourself.
Yeah.
But before whatever it is that's probing you relents, you actually hear sort of laughter, mocking sort of laughter. Not mocking so much as amused. And then it sort of relents, but you feel that something has fundamentally changed in your psychology, and you feel very weird about it, as you would expect.
That's awesome. I'm actually really excited about this change because, like, this is, with Agnes's backstory, this is really appropriate of a thing to happen to her.
Are you alright?
You
No.
see Monjoy's face, like round face with eyes disappearing into it, just looking down on you. Are you still lying on the floor? Well,
Yeah.
it was when you were lying there. Even if you're not.
Yeah, I think she's gonna
What was the
slowly
name of the
start
other
to
clan of
get up.
dwarves?
Seagrin will
Something
take her by
beard.
the elbow.
Broadbeard.
What beard?
Broadbeard.
Broadbeard.
Something was looking through the snake into my mind, trying to. I was able to push it away. It's here because it's warm. So if we can lure it out with maybe a fire. It doesn't like the cold. It shouldn't be in the cold. It's being controlled by someone.
So
I heard laughter.
probably it's under the kitchen.
Yeah, but it's
I'd
That
like
is
to
the warmest
roll
room in
for
the house.
Hannah.
to know whether, like, anything in my past experience with has, because I'm a monk.
I'm a monk.
I'm not even gonna finish
I'm
this
not
sentence just because I'm a monk.
Right.
Anything
in your past experience? What?
would give me some
Insight?
knowledge of this kind of interaction.
No.
Nothing at all.
Oh no! Give me the roll.
Oh, it's 17.
Yeah, it's quite in keeping with the animistic beliefs of the Kianis people that animals have spirits that are conscious, and yeah, this is it. You've heard of such stories before.
Mm-hmm.
You also, as somebody who's trained in the martial arts, which are very often inspired by animals, you believe in the totemic power of the beast.
Right.
So should we start pulling up floorboards in the kitchen?
Well,
That would be pretty rude.
I know.
Are you in a bedroom now, or where are you?
We're
still-
kind of still in the.
Still in the fire.
Yeah.
It's a silly question. But if we speak to it, will that make a difference? I don't know how all this works all that well.
don't even try. Don't.
Was that what you were trying to do?
Oh, right. I didn't explain.
No, you just kind of collapsed.
Yeah.
I tried to connect with it, and on the bright side, I did,
Mhm.
but
Not how you intended.
yes,
All of a sudden, Palig looks up from you as you write, and you hear him say, Halfdan, you fool, get in here!" A little boy comes scampering around the corner. He says, "Take this to the warden, deliver it immediately. It's almost dark, he'll be orc sent."
Warden?
Works.
Was that in common or in order?
That was in Norwich.
I would then relay that in whisper.
Excuse me, sir. Scribe, man. Do you speak common?
Indeed, I do.
Oh, hi.
And 4 other languages.
Oh, that's interesting. My dwarf friend's taking a long time to write a letter. But he said that you said something about orcs.
Wait, is he actually wearing
I
Yeah,
can't
he
send the boy out after dark.
Why? What kind of orcs, or how many orcs, or why are they attacking? I'm curious.
Why are they attacking?
Yes.
If we play our cards right, they will not attack.
What's your cards?
We mind our own business. We don't move around too much after dark.
Is that why people are all hungry and tired and cold? Because the orcs.
No, that is Ragnar Goldbane's doing. She takes whatever she wants.
Surprising
She
no
invited
one.
the
No
orcs
one.
in.
Oh.
Newsflash.
Are
Don't
you
go
not?
out after dark.
I would look up from the note. Are you not a friend of Ragnar?
There are no friends of Ragnar Goldbane here. Only victims. She goes back to writing.
Is she around?
I think we have a friends.
You saw that large rampart, that fortress when you walked in, on the far side of the moat?
Actually, no. Please continue.
That is Cold Keep.
Cold Keep. I'm guessing the name's a little bit more than literal.
It was the old city hall. She renamed it.
She's so cliche.
Is she usually here?
She's here now.
Do you
You
have...
can feel it in the air. Are you not cold?
I've been cold for a couple weeks now. I'm kind of getting used to it. Does she get a lot of correspondence with the outside world through you?
No.
Oh, interesting. So she does almost everything in the city, in the keep. This cold keep.
When I'm forced to cooperate, I do, like most.
Forced as in, I'm going to kill you or your family or anything else like that.
She has killed some.
Well, I'd say you have allies in very convenient places now.
Someone
Again,
has said,
never mind.
Also rude.
they say
No.
a storm is coming. It is not hers.
Stop.
back to
Should
writing.
we stomp around a little bit in the kitchen? Just go back to cooking, pretend like nothing happened. Maybe it'll feel comfortable.
Sigrun's
enough to come
gonna
out again.
turn to Astrid and say, sorry about your floor. Throwing the dagger. And then say, we're pretty sure that that snake's gonna be hovering under your kitchen.
We're gonna try and get it out for you.
If you want.
Please do. I cannot understand why there's a snake even in the city. It's so cold.
Well,
We have warm-blooded animals dropping dead.
you know, I think it might have been from that woman over there who was on the stage. She was doing some sort of charming thing
Snake
with this
charmer.
snake charmer.
Rubati the Herodon.
Yes.
Do you know a lot about her?
She came to town a few days ago. She puts on a show.
Would you
That
say
is
I'm 120 feet from the inn?
What'd you say?
What
What'd
is it?
you say?
Bring
What
out
is
the
it?
ruler.
Oh,
What'd you say?
No.
well, you can
No.
tell you. Let's
What'd
see.
you say?
So
I'm 120 feet.
Well, you kind of got the
each-
Are you
squares.
inside now?
each tile is
I'm
20
inside, that's
feet,
great, no.
so it's 20.
I think you need to say that.
Yeah, you're
It
more than that.
definitely requires an Irish accent if you start to.
It's about 150.
Okay, I just want to make sure I can't do that.
Um,
Well, you
Would
can
you
actually
say that it's
calculate
cold
it.
here?
only on
Yeah,
the
would you say that?
Yeah, I know.
Just say
See,
that I'm
I tried
120
to
feet.
Feet away from the.
I want to try.
Would you say I'm 100 feet so I can throw a fireball cold key?
Well, eventually want to make a stand.
Yo, we are so not ready for that.
No, we're not.
You're
You're
not
not ready for
Are we
And then the other thing
No.
I'll tell you
But
that
like,
Maybe
we
go
could
back
be
to
probably a
your-
little more
Are
ready
you
than we
dad
are.
or
I need
mom?
to buy some new arrows.
You're right.
Your
I should
mom.
need a shovel, a
Right?
bow, and a couple other things.
Yeah, I'm
Morgan.
mom.
Yeah,
I'm
we need to
mom.
shop.
Isha is dad.
Okay,
Right?
right,
I
right.
was mom.
We need to
Yeah,
go back
you're
to
Yeah.
mom.
So Old Raven.
Well, he
So
wants
mom
to
can keep you
Old
in
Crow,
line.
he
young
wants to
Raven
tell
are
mom
coming.
that
Can
his evil aunt is around.
Okay. All right.
His evil aunt. I love
His
it.
evil grandma.
Evil grandma.
Is Ragnar like the person that could raise it? Because then it'd be grandma.
Jen, did you see
Well,
how
So you
Morgan
hand
goes?
this to
Her
Like
like
rounds
mentor, basically.
within-
raised
you
her from,
hand
like,
this
a
to Palik
Reach.
Describe.
Step grandma.
I'm
and
be rude
he
enough
sort
to
of-
take some
he
of
sort
mine.
of-
Dwarvish,
Evil
actually.
aunt is fine.
You have every
Great
right.
aunt.
He sort of looks it over. He spends a couple minutes reading it, and he says, "Does it like to grow near?"
No.
Yes. Can you actually tell me where he is when he's talking about something?
I don't know where he is right now. He was around yesterday morning. He sent some dispatches.
Where does he usually hang out? Like that you know of.
With them.
We're kind of part of the scouting party. We kind of lost track of where he went.
We're late
It
comers.
the weather was really bad.
So cute. Hello.
Oh, we've turned. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
we
we're
won't
meeting at
turn
the
them down.
Hardhanger Temple. We didn't hear from him.
Thank you.
He folds this up, puts it in an envelope, puts a stamp on it, calls the boy back, half Dan, and says, "Take this."
We need gold pieces. We need gold pieces.
Oh, sure.
I'm gonna slide a gold piece to it.
And
All right, Pally takes it. Good day, not good work.
good texture.
I'm just imagining if they came back to us tearing up the floorboards in the kitchen. It would be like that
This
one
one's
part
best.
in Was It Community when he comes in with the pizza and
Pizza
everything's on
on
fire.
fire.
So,
John will never be able to do
while
that.
you're rummaging about in
Yeah.
the hearth room, you actually catch a glimpse of the serpent, and it's sort of hanging up from a rafter, and it's staring down at Sigrun.
I mean,
That's so fun.
I mean,
Hanging from nothing?
No,
No,
raft.
it's up on top of
So
a rafter.
So
And it's
fun.
sort of its slick, sort of gleaming,
Wait.
scaled head is looking down at Sigrun.
It's okay.
Then
It's a rafter.
I don't want to go to the temple.
Oh, you could.
Mm-hmm.
I could send a message.
And all of a sudden, it drops to the floor.
Sigrun's firing a bolt.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm whipping out my
23.
sickle.
So you actually hit the snake
And
and split it in two,
no,
and your bolt goes into the ground.
no,
Nice.
but
But
Bow.
Pin the serpent to the floor.
Oh dear.
Quick bow.
It flails, and then it stops moving.
okay.
alright, as soon as Mondra sees that, she goes back to looking for water.
Before it dies, its head actually looks at Agnes
Oh
Oh
god.
god.
for a moment,
Do I feel
and
anything?
then it dies.
Do I feel anything?
Yes, you do.
Do I feel its pain?
You feel its pain.
Snake!
No.
You feel its terror, and then you perceive the blackness of its death,
Oh.
Dang.
and then you hear a whispered voice in your head, and it says, "Fear not."
Is it directed at the snake? Or
You just hear the words "fear not"
In common.
in the audible voice of
Okay,
all
it's
thought.
thought. Okay,
Yeah.
In
I
the
was
inner
just asking.
voice that we all have,
Okay,
in
thought
inner
whatever
voice,
language
thought
we speak.
speak. Okay.
Yes.
This is some
Block
animal
snake.
shit.
So,
Oh my god. shut
where
the
do you
fuck
guys
up.
go after the
I
scribe?
have one
Block
of those
and
books for a reason.
Okay.
We asked them to inquire as to a black.
You're so scary.
A
I
blacksmith?
know.
Yeah.
So you asked Halleck the scribe about this?
Yeah,
I'm
really good.
Snakes.
So-
Like,
I was like an afterthought.
They do. They really do.
Halleck says, he says, across the street, as a matter of fact, you'll find Leaf, Blackhand, Blacksmith, and Stabler.
Thank you very
He's a
much.
fair man.
We appreciate all of your help.
So we're going to him.
No, we'll make our way out.
So you come out and you go across the street and you see that there's a sort of large stable building with two large doors in front of it. And
Yes.
there's a, and that street, incidentally, is marked as Insid Street.
Oh.
And you notice it has a lot less traffic. But you cross and you can see there's a large hanging sign across two double doors, and it says Leaf Blackhand, Blacksmith, and Stablery.
Okay, so we go in.
So you go in and you're met by you're met at the door by a very very small stocky man. He's almost as small and stocky as you, except he doesn't have that precise racial inclination. And he comes over and he actually has his tongs and sort of a flaming brand in his hand. He's like literally been working, but he heard you walked in. And right behind him, you can see there's a set of 6 stables, and they're all filled with horses.
Borrowing your
But
sword
he has
that
come
way?
between. There's a small pathway
Can you
between
toss
the
me one of
stables.
your-
He's come out of the back, and you can see he's got his shop in the back.
Am I holding on
And
to
he's
that?
got his
Is that alright with
his
me?
apron on.
She would've asked.
He's covered with soot. Good day,
Absolutely.
gentlemen.
I don't need that
Good
many.
day, good day.
Gee, good day, sir.
Aw, what are you doing?
Hood's still up. I'm not taking it off.
He looks at you and he goes, Valerie?
Like, does
you
it
hear
feel
that?
like all dwarves look
Dwarves
the
the
same?
same. They're so racist here in the city.
Yes.
They're so dwarfsist.
Dwarfs. Finally did the right thing.
Yes.
You said yes.
But given the
He's speaking Nordic still, right?
Right.
Okay, so
given
nice.
You do
the
okay
hardship
with
of
that?
our
Space out.
experiences,
You do okay
I'm in need of wares.
It's a
What can I do?
with like
Do you happen to have
raw McDonald color hair.
shield,
You're
Texas iron,
trying to check it out.
It's
and
elite.
a
Like,
warhammer?
He's like,
On,
He
without
goes
my
into the
glasses,
back
I
and
can
comes
see
back
up
with
close.
an iron shield. It's like
Efficient
thicker and heavier, and he says, I haven't been able to sell this.
Like if I'm really close like this, I
Most
can
too
see better
lazy to
without.
carry it.
you could pick him up
I
and
do
look
not
at
have
him.
a warhammer. Cannot help you there. I've got many fine axes.
That would mess up your exact.
Great axes, hand axes.
I have some arrows for your
Warhammer
friend.
would take me a week.
Okay. That's too long. What the hell is that?
I need to go shopping.
Um,
I need healer kits.
How much for the shield?
That's a good question. Okay.
Probably not around, but if they exist, then
For what?
What is the going rate for a shield?
so I've lost
10
that.
GP, he says, give it to you for 10 GP. 8.
So can I just
One of
ask,
the-
did
one
I
of the
find
hardy
water?
folk. What's that?
Did I find water in Ingrid's place?
Yes, there's a
Or
pot.
Astrid's, you
Yes,
know.
there's a pot of water there.
I can't. Alright, so I'm boiling water
Okay.
and I'm making noodles.
I'm asking if she has any herbs.
She has
Proverbs.
a fairly good selection, but she actually points out that, in fact, there is in town an apothecary on Insid Street
Wow.
at the far end.
He spent
If there's anything you
She
don't,
needs this
you
help.
see there that you do, anything there that I don't have that you might want, you can go to the apothecary.
Just, does he have battle axe?
Yeah. Comes back with a battle axe.
Yeah.
And
Agnes
he
is
says,
gonna
I can
speak
fit
over
this
there.
with a shorter
Yeah,
half if you like.
because I was just about to
That
ask.
would be
He
more
says
While you're giving
unironically.
directions, and I'll probably get directions
Sure.
to
How
this
much would
guy.
that total?
And he says,
By arrows.
just give me a few
Yeah,
minutes.
I've been
You've been
No,
squatting
no,
down
no.
by
You're
the
sawing
snake
and
retrieving her
whittling
gold.
going on, and you hear
What do
he
we do
fires
with
up
the snake?
his
Right,
reel
clean it
and
up.
it's sharpening,
Don't eat it. We used to drive it
sparks
when we
flying
regret
off it.
That's
Yeah.
Great, so you'll appreciate
Yeah.
Throw it in the
this. Well, I'm
fire.
gonna tell you a
just
story.
to get my
I think that's what
notes on that.
Sigrun would do. She'd
Legendary
gather up the
short
remains and
weapons
put them in the
ever made
fire.
by my people.
So he
It's
comes
kind
he
of-
comes back and he
It's kind of a
charges you
It's
8 gold pieces for
more
the shield.
respectful of
And
a living
he
creature
Yeah.
than tossing it in
charges
the garbage.
you.
Exactly, to just freeze or rot outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't.
Agnes wouldn't see any of it.
He
She's
charges
just
you
speeding out of there.
32
But she's just a
gold
good person
pieces
and thinks of these things
for
anyway.
the battle axe.
Astrid, while you're giving directions,
No.
if somebody need to buy some
No, you
arrows,
need it, don't you?
where might I go?
Just don't let me die.
Oh, to market across the street. I wouldn't try and mooch it off any of the city guards. They've long since sold their vessels.
What about healer kits?
I'm sure you could cobble something together from the herbs in the marketplace and the supplies there. If not, you could try the apothecary.
Yeah.
Very generous woman, very decent. We know what side she's on.
How late do these places remain open?
Well, if you knock on the door and you're kindly folk, I'm sure you can get what you want.
What time is it, by the way?
It's now
I'll take 6.
about 7 p.m.
7 p.m. All right.
We're gonna give him 41 gold.
Oh,
41 gold.
One gold.
bad
So-
day to wear a
One
white
gold for
t-shirt.
two.
Okay.
It was a perfect day to wear a white shirt. So I like cook the noodles, give you
Oh yeah, because I would
Some-
still stick
or
around
little
because I really
pots.
don't want to
Yes,
miss this.
right. And I say
Yeah, are you gonna say to eat something?
noodles from rice.
She's already out of there.
Yeah,
She didn't like. You should save her some, but like
we would save her some.
she's a little traumatized and she's getting the hell out of there.
Yeah.
She needs to smoke.
Sigrun's gonna have some
Yeah, I'm still
noodles.
gonna have some.
So, Agnes,
What
you
else
now
is in
no
here?
longer feel any sort of consciousness
herbs
probing
and
your mind,
spices.
but you do feel a kind of
It's delicious.
strange sense of grief.
Thank you very
You
much.
can't understand where it could come from except the death of the snake.
And I still feel changed.
Yeah,
like
you feel
I am.
fundamentally changed.
My bad.
Alright.
That thing was staring me down.
No,
Still
no.
starting before
She.
Labor Day.
I'm excited about this. She's not.
Um,
Put my OCs through hell.
So you
Yep,
pay this
um,
40,
always.
41.
41?
She's.
So he's made a new leather strap for this iron
This
shield,
is actually
which
really
is like
appropriate to her
he's just
backstory.
overjoyed to move this thing. This is really heavy, and he
Sigrun would have followed, but I
didn't
think she got
expect
the
anyone
feeling
to
that
buy it. So
Agnes wanted to
he says,
be
"Can I
alone.
use your gentleman on the horse?"
Would,
And she understands that shit.
Not as
Not
as
yet.
present.
Would anyone like to accompany
No, I
me?
can't say
If there are
Some
any
people are
stalls still
buying
open in the
horses
market?
not just for
I
riding,
will.
if you know what I mean.
May as well.
I need healer's kits.
It's
It'll be-
where that
oh,
would
and
be some
I mean, I was asking, kind of hoping you would say yes, since
stay
I
here
can't
older.
speak Nordic.
Okay.
That's true. I could
I'm
probably
assuming it's just a
use
regular
some
shield that's
more
plus 2
bolts
AC.
as well, if
Yep.
that's possible.
Let's see what we can
Right out here. Yeah.
muster up.
Thank you very much.
So
sir.
we're
Appreciate it.
going to the
we're
market.
We're going to
We're gonna head to
market.
Temple.
So you're going to the market.
Finish.
You're going to the temple.
I'm at
Okay.
the apothecary.
Okay.
And the
The
three of us.
apothecary. The apothecary.
Well,
is,
Is
I
it
gotta go to
the building with the
apothecary,
beautiful
too.
moss ceiling? Roof?
no.
Ooh.
The apothecary is all the
I
way
know,
up
damn.
here, and so I'm going to argue: is Agnes going by herself?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I can't. I thought the apothecary was in the same area, but it's not. So I'm gonna have to go there as well.
This is the
But I think
apothecary right
Agnes-
here.
She
Suited
she
out
went
much earlier.
She went by
way-
herself first.
Way earlier.
Yes, because we were eating
Alright,
noodles.
so
Yes.
give me Agnes.
Yeah, and I
Mom.
took
So
my time.
Agnes
That's
and,
fine.
and
So
Monty.
I'm
trying to think.
What?
Wait, where's that?
Are you going with the
Right here.
apothecary?
Well, she said, "Tell me again what whatever the
Just gonna
heck her
Google
name is
Can
said about
Astrid?
about healer's kits." She mentioned the apothecary and the
And
market.
She
Possibly
said that
copper.
there
Put
was,
one
there's
together.
enough spices and herbs and fabrics sold in the marketplace for you to cobble something together, and anything more specialized you could probably get from the apothecary.
Okay, so I'll go with the the market with you
First,
first,
see what you can find.
and then I'll go to the apothecary after
Fair.
that.
We're gonna go to the temple. And probably when
Because we're feeling like
when we get to the temple,
communal.
Morgan would
because we
attempt
just
to
had
send a
noodles
message
We
to
just
together.
had to,
Secret.
we just shared a meal, you know.
We got noodle bellies.
Noodle bellies, food babies.
So I'll wait till
Lately, every time
DM
Fiona eats, she's
DM is ready for that.
Okay,
Yes.
so
I have
here's
all
Astrid is the mistress that runs the Torvik guest house. The apothecary's
Oh, yes.
name is Drehilda.
Ooh.
So I'll put that right
I like
there.
that.
Now, can Agnes and Manjue and Morgan and Kajal give me perception checks?
Oh no, I'm at the market.
Oh, okay. But you're
She
going to
changed
the
her mind.
apothecary?
I'm going to go to the apothecary after the market.
Okay, but Agnes is going to the apothecary?
Yes.
She's already there.
Yes,
Alright.
she's like there. Yeah.
6.
She like bolted over.
Yeah.
15.
We had to do a
So,
little side
uh,
gaming.
In a strange moment, Morgan happens to glance up Insid Street, and Agnes happens to glance down Insid Street, and you see each other at the opposite ends of the street, crossing the opposite direction. So Morgan and Kajal are coming back from the blacksmith towards the fountain area, and Agnes is coming up the middle lane and crossing Insid Street towards the apothecary, and you catch a glimpse of each other.
Agnes is going to like stop and she's gonna open her mouth and she's gonna look like she's about to say something specifically to Morgan, and then she's gonna shut up and keep going.
I
Okay.
think she still hates me.
That was good.
No, never mind.
I think I'm the only one who doesn't like you.
Probably. Oh, that reminds me. He's gonna try to send a message now to Sigrid, saying
Okay.
Let's get it.
Ragna is in the place called Cold Keep. She's actually here right now. Nobody likes her.
And
What's
we're
the
like,
range? What's the range?
Come
of
on.
that?
120 feet.
we're even farther.
He's
away
gonna
now.
attempt. He thinks she's still there.
It's like 175 feet to the end, and probably 109.
Well, no, this is when he's at the temple.
Oh, we're at the temple. Okay.
So he's just attempting because he
I got,
assumes.
tiny, I got tiny
Here.
legs,
Here's what
so
we'll
it
do.
takes
Here's
us
what
a
we'll
little
do.
longer
Sigrid,
to walk.
give me a wisdom check. Actually, no, straight up perception check.
Because he's assuming she's still at the end. So.
Yeah.
16.
Yeah, you detect that Morgan's trying to speak to you, and
He's
you
so
can't
good.
make it out.
Okay,
Well,
so
Morgan has a message, but I don't know what it is.
So what's Manjue doing at
The
the
line
market?
is busy.
Gets
Just-
dial-up tone.
Like, I don't know me meta what I'm looking for.
Right.
So, but she does. So I'm
Okay.
just gonna say that she's looking through the stalls to see if they have what she needs. She already has some herbs on her because she
Right.
carries them anyway.
Right.
So I'm not really sure what's missing. All Beth know is that she has no healer kits.
Right.
Whatever
So-
healer kits are made of.
Right.
And
So actually, most of the market merchants are packing up because
Okay.
the sun is going down. It's getting
Mhm.
very, very cold, and they're actually some of them doing it with a little bit of urgency. But
Okay.
your sort of strange foreign looks have some of the people kind of stopping and sort of trying to engage in you. And with your sort of your slightly shaky common and their slightly shaky common, you have a hard time trying to explain what you want. But you're able to pick up some balms, and you're able to pick up some sort of smelling salts and some bandages. And Sigrid is able to pick up some arrows. Is that what you wanted?
I was looking for bolts. She was looking for arrows.
Right. So you're able to find. There's a wood carver there who was selling, and Madry has to endure a couple of mean cracks about small arrows.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so
Actually,
what is
sir,
that
I'm the
amount
one
to?
who needs the small ones.
I'm gonna say that you've cobbled together one healing kit.
One
I just
healing
look up
kit.
at you
Okay.
very
Mine
appreciatively.
And I'm wondering whether she senses the urgency of people and wouldn't
Actually, I
actually
probably
go
do.
back to the inn instead of
Right.
I
trying
don't
to
know where I
go
would
to
end
the
up on you,
apothecary.
but
Small of my back, maybe?
small.
Or my elbow?
You're probably your elbow. Yeah, we do an elbow touch.
She said I'm the one who needs the
she
short
runs-
ones.
Right. Right.
She runs really fast though.
Right.
Where's the apothecary?
The apothecary is all the way over there, and so Agnes has journeyed over there, and you notice that as you walked up sort of the main alleyway, that there were two inns there that were starting to sort of come to life, and you could hear not good cheer, but chatter and drinking going on. But the streets are starting to empty out, and you're seeing some sort of shadowy figures staring out of alleyways and down streets. And just large, hulking, kind of shuffling creatures.
Okay, Mondoy is
I
gonna
got what
run
I
to the
needed.
apothecary.
Did you
Okay.
tell us how many we got? How many did
Yeah. Oh, how many did we get?
The arrows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And bolts
Um,
for.
You were able to get. Sigrid, you bought 20
Okay.
crossbow bolts, and Madry, you were able to get 26.
Nice.
Sigrid's also gonna ask the woodcarver what the hurry is.
Just darkness, cold. There are orcs about. You must
Orcs?
be new. You're not new by the look of you. The sound of your voice, you sound like you from this city.
New to the city, perhaps not this part of the world. Why are there orcs here? Where did they come from?
Invited into the city by that bitch. You must know the one.
Yeah, I think we
Ragna?
City's
Ah.
open. City is open. Barbarians, half orcs, orcs. You don't want to be out after dark.
Naturally, we're all gonna
Maybe,
be out.
all
maybe you
out
do
after
now that
dark.
you're armed. You look like an adventurous to me.
Cute.
do. But I don't.
How much time? And Agnes would know this. How much time do I have before full sunset?
Yeah, it's about 15 minutes.
Alright. Have I made it to the apothecary?
You have made it, and you actually catch Agnes coming out.
Just I love
Okay.
the image of like a
Bump.
skinnier Mondre.
Yeah, I got all my. I bought all my things.
Just
Yeah.
just
Ready to
barely.
go.
So Agnes
I
has
just wanna
like
go
has
smoke
like
this.
bundles tied with twine.
Okay. I say to
Just
you,
wanna go
wait. We should not travel alone.
We're not alone. We're together now.
Yes. Don't leave. Yes.
Don't leave the apothecary.
Yes.
How long? Could you explain?
I need healer kits.
Go ahead and leave. We don't care.
You turn. You see three large, hulking creatures, misshapen, leather-armored
Outside.
orcs standing
Here we
behind you.
go.
Standing behind you in the street.
Here we
17.
But we're not in the
go.
street.
Yeah,
Were
we
you
were.
in the street?
No, because
We're in the
I'm
Yeah.
in this. I'm in the street.
Okay.
you were about to go into the apothecary and she was walking out.
17 for Secret to notice Monjway's gone.
Yes, you notice Majway is gone.
Alright, I just go in the apothecary and I pull Agnes in.
So as you pull Agnes in, you hear the orcs saying,
Oh, don't run from us, ladies.
Please.
I meditate years.
And I say to her, I
Just
say,
want to buy
we'll
you
deal
a
with them
drink.
later.
Just want to tell
Dre
you
Hilda
you're
goes-
beautiful.
Dre Hilda,
Right.
the apothecary, says,
Right.
Are they normally like this?
she runs over to the doors and goes, nothing to see here, gentlemen, nothing to see. Shuts the door, drops a bolt on it.
Oh, nice.
Oh shit.
Dre Hilda
Okay.
knows.
So I
She's not
explain
helpless.
to Dre Hilda that I'm trying to assemble some healer kits.
She says,
I'm phased by
Whatever the
You're
hell
gonna
I
need
call them.
you're
Some
going to need
healing
them across those
potions.
gentlemen. Let's just make sure they're gone. She's peeking out the keyhole. You hear this laughter. You hear snatches of a kind of bawdy song about the nice smooth asses of human women. Like, and then all of a sudden you hear this in the
Somebody's
street,
peeing on the door.
Yep.
and this sort of stink, this disgusting stink comes in the house. And then you hear
Like
these
skunk.
heavy footfalls going up the cobblestones.
Just in time.
So, what are you two doing?
Well, let's go to the temple.
So you come up to the temple. Are you coming from this direction or the
Yeah.
opposite direction?
This direction.
So the gentleman that you had seen around the small fountain at the front of the temple, right underneath the tapestry of Sif, are gone. The small fountain's completely frozen. You come up to the door. There's no lights on in the church. No lights on in the temple, and the door appears to be locked.
I think there's
Makes sense. He's getting tired. They say works.
Monjway must have gone to the apothecary.
Probably.
I'm gonna walk.
I didn't get anything from Secret.
I have what she needs, but
I'm gonna then, being the door is locked, we're gonna walk around the other side.
Okay. There's another door on the other side. You notice,
The opposite side.
right in
What side was
between the
here?
statues of Odin and Thor.
Oh, is Tyr on the other side?
Actually,
Which side?
yeah, but
Behind
it's
me,
Thor here.
there is it's Thor and Odin on this side. It's Tyr and Balder on that side.
Which way are we going? That way.
So you tried the door on this side. It was locked.
So we tried the Thor door.
Okay.
So before we even go up to that door, I'm Door. gonna actually step up to the Tyr statue,
Okay.
bend on one knee, and pray
Okay.
to him. Just kind of asking his favor and
Give me a wisdom check.
to get us through this.
Should we go after her?
It's getting dark.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, you feel a strange exhilaration.
Wouldn't want to leave her by herself. She's
Once
rather
before in
capable.
your life, you felt that maybe Tyrion heard you.
The way people
You
have
have
talked
that
about this
suspicion
town
again.
doesn't seem like it's a good place to be alone
Makes
after dark,
sense.
no matter how
Is that
peaceful
door
you are.
So
Yeah.
you
Should
come
go
up
look
and
for her.
you try the door. It's locked. As it rattles in the frame, you hear a shuffling of feet on the other side of the wall, and a little panel opens at the door. You see an eye. It's right about where your eye is. And you're password in Dwarvish.
Ooh.
What? Where are you?
We're at the temple where we were told there might be dwarves.
Dang.
Where you are.
Password. No, that's not good. That's not good.
The door bolt goes back.
Blah, 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 blah.
By Tyr's missing hand, I demand entrance to this temple.
I highly doubt
You
this is
say
the
that
password.
in Dwarvish.
Yeah.
I highly doubt whatever you said is the password.
You hear whispering on the other side of the door. And you hear it sort of rattling, clanking, armor being put on, swords being drawn, shield being drawn.
Sometimes I wish I spoke Dwarvish. Because now I'm thinking all you said is open up,
I'm
motherfuckers.
gonna back up. I'm gonna back up then.
Well,
And put
I mean,
this.
you might as well have just said that.
The panel comes back and you hear a voice say, "Who is that out there?" In Dwarvish. Who is that out there?
My name is Kajal. I am but a humble wanderer in this city.
Kajal of the Iron Breakers. Is that you? What are you doing here?
Do I recognize the voice?
The door opens, and you see a dwarf whom you maybe met once years ago, whose name is Dalbor.
Oh, boy.
Spell it out.
I would be the equal mix of excited and shitty.
The door opens, and he's standing
You're
there in
constituting
full armor,
being here?
and he's looking at you. And he has his full Ironbreaker regalia. You recognize the mail. You recognize the armor. He's got a huge sort of notched battle axe in his hand. His helmet with one horn missing. You saw him once, and he probably saw you once, but you recognize that it locked in from early adolescent experience.
Absolutely.
And he stands there and goes, "What are you doing here?"
It's a
Look for
very
you.
long
Yeah, we're
story.
gonna look for you.
I
Part of me
just
wants to
wrote a
stay-
letter.
to stay off the main roads, but
He looks
I
out all
also
of a
think it
sudden.
would be bad to travel
Looks up the street.
darker places.
Come back tomorrow.
Stick to the shadows.
Come back tomorrow. 1 hour after dinner. Locks the door. And you hear heavy footfalls coming up behind you in the street.
We're all just gonna like.
And it's the same orc.
Oh, they met the
Just-
wrong
We're
motherfucker!
already pissed.
It's the same. It's the same orcs.
This street.
Can you
Yeah,
move,
that's
can
right,
you
yeah.
move us to the right over that area?
Majory
Yeah.
and Secret are,
Can we
are
actually-
gonna try and.
The last thing Dalbor says when he shuts the door is it says, "You must keep them away from the temple."
Okay. What's going on? You need to translate for me, or speak common.
Later.
No, I'm going to speak in all Elvish.
Meanwhile, what are the rest
Meanwhile,
of you?
You're
We're
going to find
about to
Miles.
start going
To
that
find
way, but
us.
we're like
Okay.
right
Yeah.
here, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Easy.
Okay.
So we're gonna try and go look for.
So,
Manchway.
what
Manchway.
route do you take?
We're gonna go this way, but roll for stealth.
Stealth.
So, are you going in front of the longhouse there, or up the main?
Which is the longhouse? This.
That,
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
I think we were gonna go up
Right.
that
You're
way.
gonna go up the main.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
but roll for stealth.
So,
You're both kind of stealthy.
so
Yeah.
this group consists
Yeah.
of Sigrun, Manjway.
No.
No,
No,
just
Sorry,
Secret and
Madri and
Madri.
Sigrun.
We're all
Yeah.
we're all in
There's
groups
two.
of two.
We're all in
Yeah,
pairs,
all
which
in
is
pairs.
unusual
It
for
is.
Yeah, and we weren't originally.
So,
Nat 20.
yeah.
Yes.
You're doing,
Madri
you're doing
has
Assassin's
stealth.
Creed nonsense.
Madri
I
has
am
actually
stealth.
discovered that
27.
Yes!
Madri
both doing
and
Assassin's
Sigrun have discovered
Oh, it's gonna end horribly.
Yes.
That's not gonna be stealthy.
No, that isn't stealthy.
Okay.
So you actually discover that the way that the fading evening sun, the emergent moon, and the torchlight in that sort of relatively thin alleyway fall in such a way that there's large shadows near the baseboards, near the base of the walls, and you guys have just disappeared into the
That's what
shadows.
skeleton key does, Ben.
I am one with the shadows.
So as you pass up the
I'm just
street,
small.
you see that large building from the sign that's there, and Agnes, you would have noticed this earlier if you took this route. It's called, the first building is called Alslig's Tavern, Magnus Mead Haller, proprietor. But you notice something interesting. Underneath the sign, it says, all races welcome. And someone has painted on the door in faded white paint that somebody has tried to clean off the door, Orc Lover. And as you pass that, you see another large stone building beside it, and that large stone steading has a sign that says Torstein's Tavern, Torstein Grey Eye Bartender, and it has a sign underneath it that says Humans Only. And across from that is a sort of 3-story but relatively thin building. And it says Langstrad Chambers, independent apartments. It's just a living area. So you come up to the intersection there, and you notice that there is 2 guards standing on either side of a bridge that goes over some kind of a moat. And beyond that is a vast fortress, and you find yourself looking at a huge withdrawn drawbridge.
I give you 3 guesses.
He sure does love to hide.
So then do you turn left
Yeah.
and go up Insid Street?
We're like,
Yeah,
our minis are here, but we're up
Yeah.
there. So
yeah, we're up at the
Right.
corner.
Yeah, right there. Your hand's right
I think
over
I
us.
put them down here.
Yeah, and then so now we're turning the corner down there.
So you turn the corner and you go up Insid Street, and you find your way to the apothecaries, and you notice this disgusting
Yep.
stink as you approach. Now you have a couple of times in your life smelled orcs, and they don't smell this bad, and you now realize that why orcs stink is that they smell like their own piss, and this must be orc piss. But at that moment, the door to the apothecary's house opens, and Drehilda is there, and she is just taking final payment from Manjue, having made 2 healing kits for her that's been assembled. And Agnes has got all of the herbs and things that she was looking for, druidically speaking. And they actually have been chatting amiably for a good 20 minutes. They shared a cup of tea, in fact, and they all do nice little cheek air kisses as they depart. into the street.
Sigrid stepping out of the shadows like,
And
that's
Montoya
adorable.
is very
My heart is
awkward
warmed.
about it because
Yeah.
she has no
My
idea
heart
what
will
No,
let
yeah.
my hands over
And
my heart.
Drehilda says, "Good night, ladies. Good night. Come again. Come again." And the door shuts.
Aw.
Shall we go?
Is it just
I
voice
hope
comes
you
out
had
of
a
his
nice
head?
Out of the
time.
voice out of the
Yeah.
shadows. Shall we go?
Did you have a nice time?
So
Apart from
back
the
at the
office.
Apart from the
We
orc.
figured that's what that
So
was.
we had just a scene of love.
yeah.
Enter.
Back at Krat Street, you notice you
Well,
turn
we're
and
coming for ya.
you see that there's
Most
3 orcs, and they have come up probably 20 feet behind you, and you hear this voice saying,
What's going on at that temple? Who are you?
Praying.
Pray.
The Groomish, I hope. Well, fuck you both.
I'd rather not. You're awfully smelly.
This is what I'm not coming to save you. You deserve whatever he's going to give you.
You fight tonight.
Yeah,
Woo!
I just
Were your
turned.
students very bad?
It's been a while since Morgan made me gas.
Yeah.
so the orcs are looking at you.
That's tough talk from a human. Don't get too
Please say you laugh.
You have no idea who you're talking
This
to.
also
dude.
is Russell Crowe sounding orc.
Yeah, right.
I love
So
it.
the orc looks and goes,
You harm one wart on our bodies, and she'll send the wraith after you.
Oh, no. She will she? You know, it's funny. I think that was yeah, we kill dragons.
We're not
Three.
We're not
2.5.
We almost killed 3.
almost
So
Three,
you don't
do like
fear
a
the
toddler
undead?
thing.
Is that what you're saying?
I don't feel the
Something
undead, I don't feel dragons, I don't feel elders. So now what do you want to say?
I also
Ah,
don't.
fuck you both. Throw down.
And they draw their swords.
I shit!
Roll for
Hold my
initiative.
beer.
Hold my
You know
beer!
what else you don't fear? Orcus.
Arpus.
So, would
Do
it
we
be fair
hear
to say
anything?
where,
Is this
where,
loud? Is this very
where
loud?
would we have gotten to by that
Yeah.
Yeah,
point?
by that point where
Where will we
I would
hear
say
this?
you're coming back up the main street.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to set our minis so
Yeah.
that we know where we are.
Give me a
As
perception.
soon as he said
check.
this, one of them
Okay.
said that they're not going to shoot. One of the first things we took
23.
together.
Agnes has heard.
23.
26.
Sigrun has heard.
23.
Madrin has heard as well.
Hold on.
Okay,
So
so remarkably,
I don't have any perception lately.
okay.
But like, where
It's
are
okay,
we
we
so
have
we
You're,
know?
you're in between the two taverns.
I lose
So
weight,
probably
so can't even
here? Yeah, right about
function
there.
anymore.
Right at that like juncture.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're not moving stealthily. You're walking.
No,
away.
we're just
Yeah,
walking.
there's 4 of us now.
There's
Yeah.
4 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a little more safety.
Safety in
How
numbers.
many orcs nat one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I rolled a good 15.
yeah! Yes!
I also rolled a
Can
15.
you give me the number of those orcs at the bottom of their?
I put us, I guess, right
Where are
across
they?
from them because we were engaging in debate.
Would they
In
have been
debate.
here now?
Debate.
Or are they still here?
Yeah, like, are we
I will
here?
debate
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Okay, so put us like right here, I guess.
Right.
Okay,
I don't know where we
Veronica.
are
Oh yeah.
because we walked away.
20 feet away. They were 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need to roll 2 for initiative?
No, you're not on site
Not
yet.
yet.
Okay.
Ooh!
Oh, if it's that dark, it's about to get real bright.
Oh, yeah.
So we
Please
heard.
help me.
How much did we hear? Did we hear like the?
Yeah, that's true.
You basically heard growling orc.
Growling orc and just growling orc. No.
Dude.
No response.
Yeah. Are we hearing any comment?
You're not hearing any comments.
Just
You only
orcish.
heard growling orc. So what was your
We
initiative?
both rolled 15s.
So it's
Let me go
Morgan,
And your
Jal,
shirts.
and the orcs. What are the orc numbers? You're gonna have a hard time reading in the dark, but they have numbers. on the
Veronica, you're
bottom.
gonna need to read those. The numbers on the
Alright.
bottom.
There are 3, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
5.
5,
Shatter would
6.
hurt you.
I know. I was actually just thinking about that.
No.
7,
Okay. Maybe
Okay.
4.
5,
4 or
6,
5.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Too crazy.
Okay.
I heard orcs
Right.
ahead.
So it's Morgan's initiative.
We know how we can handle this. We need to go like, what are you thinking?
We should.
No.
Or they're just taking a
Burning
moment
hands
to
does
discuss.
Yeah, to
grow?
discuss.
Nah.
We should
Okay. All right.
probably
No,
check it
those
out.
two probably
Not
are.
I
necessary.
really think
Okay.
these people.
I'm gonna cast. I'm gonna take
How
like
do
one
we know
step
where the
forward,
boys
like
are?
just to get into range of it.
No.
We're heading in that direction.
It's 10
And
o'clock. Do you know where your
chances
children are?
Chances are it's the guys.
So all the,
Do you know where your DPS is?
so I put myself in position right like in front of them, 15 feet out. So basically, my burning hands can hit all 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna cast burning hands at level 2, just so I can do a lot of damage in one shot.
A lot of damage.
Hopefully.
A whole lot.
So it's gonna be
Oh,
dex save
A lot of damage.
all around. Beat a 15.
Please.
Okay.
Actually, don't beat a 15, please. Kinda-
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
What?
how did I know
2 of them made it.
hasn't
1 of them
gotten
did.
better.
Okay.
Hmm.
It's gonna be 4d6 fire damage.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
I think I have carpal tunnel, but I'm just
4
ignoring
and
it.
5 made it, and 6 didn't.
Okay.
What are you, me?
Yeah.
Oh, not too bad at all.
Nope, just ignoring it. That's my brace. I'll be
That's
fine.
16 fire. That's for the one who didn't
You have to
fail.
get a
8
brace
for the one who.
for a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, 8
That's
for the
okay.
8 for the 2 that passed.
Okay.
Full 16 for the one that failed.
Okay. The one that failed burst into flames and is incinerated.
Oh wow!
They're weak.
Oh wow! I am.
So
You
you
don't need to waste another thing.
so
You
more, I'll use the rest of my movement to basically step back and be like, all yours.
Wow,
he
magic
cast
wheel.
burning
Oh,
hands, right?
Yeah.
15 to notice the flare of light.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh shit!
Did you wild magic? You wild magic!
Wild magic ass!
Please be a potted plant.
Please, please, please,
You
please.
can't wish for the pot of plant more than once a campaign.
More than once in a career.
A girl can dream.
5?
Oh, that can't be good.
That can't be
Oh,
good.
no.
That's either gonna be amazing or horrible.
horrible.
I'm
I
ready.
really love the
Dude,
music
you
and I
didn't
love
even
Bald
need to do a spell.
Morgan.
You could have used cantrips.
I probably would. I thought they're gonna be higher level.
Yeah, me too.
Because we're like level 7. Yeah.
This was a trap to get us to kill him so we'd get in trouble.
Yep.
What is it?
Oh, okay. A Modron chosen and controlled by the DM appears in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of you, then disappears 1 minute later.
What? A what?
Oh, what?
A what?
A modron.
I don't know.
Modron?
Modron? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
A modron is it's a little mechanical creature that I generally don't admit into this sort of universe.
So maybe you
So
can pick something else.
I'm going to say that it is in fact. I'm going to say for an instant, a familiar figure appears, and it's a satyr. You actually hear these hoofs, and you hear this voice saying, "You, you,
That
why did you bring me, you bastard?" And he's actually holding his crotch because he was obviously busy doing something. And he's like, "You bastard! Is this some kind of a joke? I think you are."
Revenge, bitch!
This is for making Kajal and Seagrin strip.
Whose pants are missing now?
Who's got
So
something
this
in
is the satyr from...
I let bygones
She's
be
waiting.
bygones.
Are you
Spent.
kidding?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get my
Let me look
stuff.
at his name.
Okay.
I got wild magic after casting during hands. That's what you mostly missed.
And
The satyr appeared for a
The
moment.
satyr from the Chimera battle.
Oh my
Alphios.
God.
Alphios the
So-
satyr kind of looks at you, and he kind of looks at you, and he kind of backs away, and he starts to shiver, and then he kind of looks at the orcs and goes, and then he turns and he starts running. He
You
goes-
mean the wacky pervy satyr?
Yeah.
and while he's running, all of a
Probably
sudden,
the only satyr that we've ever seen.
He just
he
disappears.
disappears, and the orcs are going.
So I think Seagrin would have taken off running when she saw the flash.
Well, hold on. It might be over in a second.
So,
but she
actually,
still would have taken
I
off
also
running.
have
one of
two
the
drinks.
I have
looks
two.
at the other and goes, "This is
We're
weird.
insane. We're like
These are magical, these folks."
One second.
Run!
Okay, well, I'm gonna still get my moves in before they run. So shield
Get my
and
moves
battle
in.
axe out.
Okay.
If they're running, do I have advantage?
Well, it's not their turn yet.
Okay.
You're right about that.
Fair enough. Okay. So swinging at what? Who's left? Number
Who's
one?
left?
You said
4 and 5.
Okay. Swinging at number 4.
6 is
dead.
incinerated.
Okay, so they're right next to each other. By the
Swinging
way.
at number 4.
Okay.
We know how fucking low their health is.
Oh yeah.
Knuckles on
16.
That's a hit.
I have no idea what they are. They got all mixed up. So
They're
That's
elegant.
8 damage.
Okay. And you actually cut him across the middle, and he falls because he was fire damaged from the previous melee.
I love the cherry.
Second swing at the other one.
So you actually cut him down, and then you sort of turn directly to the other one in the same motion.
It's actually had the shield out too.
Yeah.
It's like one.
Okay.
Oh no, that's.
do you think that's against them?
I'm good.
14?
14 is a hit.
Or no, 18.
Chocolate.
18 is definitely a hit.
Look, it's here.
And another 8 damage.
Yeah, same result. He had only had 8 points left. So you slash him sort of across the neck, and he falls. His sort of his arteries are spouting into the street. And at that moment, just as his corpse thumps across the cobblestone and starts to bleed out, he was about to run. Sigrid and Maedry, followed by
Come around the
Agnes and Manjue, come around the corner. And what you see is Kajal standing there with his shield and battle axe, which are new, you notice. And Morgan is still standing there. His hands are just still smoking. And there's basically smoking, bleeding orcs in the street.
Hey, Sigrid, you missed Alphonse.
Who?
I brought the satyr back for a half second.
What?
Why?
I cast Burning Hands.
Oh, so it was that weird shit your magic does
At
sometimes.
least I wasn't a potted plant.
Fair.
Could you
So
take
you
this
have
inside?
noticed, by the way, that your voices are like echoing in the streets
Okay, we-
because the streets are empty.
How's my inn?
And where you're standing, you actually see there's a little bit of light coming from a cracked door at the Torvik guest house. And you see Astrid sort of standing there going, "Come in, get out of the cold, you won't be seen. Oh, look, you've already run into it. Good God."
Just like these smoking bleeding orcs on the ground.
Before they
Just
were
sit here and just
Oh,
moment
classic us.
Come, even the guards are out after dark.
Okay, well
so
somebody
we'll
else is
come-
gonna have to grab
We'll
our
hustle inside then.
minis. They're in between.
As
Oh
you're,
God!
It's okay. I drank everything.
as you're
It sounded
hustling,
like it. Oh no, it didn't break.
as you're hustling into the guest house, you all of a sudden feel this gust of cold air coming from above you, and you hear this sound of kind of wispy, leathery wings beating on air above
Of
you.
course.
And you actually sort of cringe down as you remember the battle in the dragon cavern, and you think about those new hatchlings that you had battle with, and you sense that that's what it is, and then it beats its way over the city.
Naturally.
So you've all hustled into the guest house.
Mhm.
Indeed.
Indubitably.
Oh, did I miss the noodles?
We saved you some.
Noodles.
Oh well,
They're actually good.
I can make more.
they're delicious.
Anyone have any meat?
Yeah.
You could probably put meat in those noodles.
If we have any.
Someone asked.
I doubt Astrid has any.
I could buy some meat. This would be horse.
I think it's a little late for buying anything. There's
I would-
nobody out.
We've actually made quite a bit of friends.
We've made a few friends actually.
It seems like
You
those
get my
two did
message?
too.
Try sending you a message.
Oh yeah, I did hear that. What's up? Well, no, I didn't hear it. I felt it.
Oh, well, okay, well, Coldbane pretty much hangs out in Cold Keep
Oh,
all
we
the
saw
time.
that.
Oh, you saw it? Oh, I didn't
We
see it.
saw it.
Well,
We're
apparently
just talking about this in the kitchen.
I paid for privacy shows.
In this. So I mean, like.
So where are you? In the hearth room or are you in the foyer?
Probably wherever the common area would be. Probably the equivalent to
Well,
the common area. The warmest
Hearth-
room.
hearth
Okay.
So the hearth
That's
room.
here, right?
Probably the warmest room.
This
So
one.
I make more noodles. While we're
While
So
we're
while
catching
you're
up.
standing there, you actually hear a knock on the front door of the Torvik guest house. It's loud enough that you actually hear it.
We are into it.
So
So you're
we are
in-
not.
are you in the
That's
kitchen?
Astrid's job.
No, if I heard that knock, I'm peeking out.
No, you're
Don't
not.
answer it.
No, you're not.
So
Let
Astrid,
Astrid-
I'm not
Out
peeking
from
out
here,
from
not out
here.
the door.
Oh.
Astrid goes.
Everybody
Astrid
chill.
goes to the door, and she pulls back a little panel.
Well, no, from here.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
From there.
So Agnes is looking, and
From the.
yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
Astrid goes to the and she goes, "What is it?" And you hear this voice come through the door. Astrid, he's been seen. Spread the word. The storm is coming. She nods, shuts the door, shuts the little panel. Was Kajal looking
Yeah.
or Morgan looking?
I was
No, Morgan was sitting in his chair
I
trying to
would've
be all
been-
important
I
and
would've
party
been-
like.
was
party
like-
leader like.
Secret was like right behind Agnes. I keep hearing Astrid and thinking
7?
it's Agnes. That's why I keep getting all confused.
Right.
Yeah, I know we too.
Did you see
And
anything?
then I've introduced a new
Um,
Ingrid character in my mind.
This does not This does not bode well. Someone spotted, and apparently there's a storm coming. And
That's the second.
Astrid
I
and
heard
Storm
that
spread the word.
today.
There's always a storm coming wherever we go.
Someone said it to us, right?
Where the storm.
Okay, actually, this is at this
That
moment.
was like
That was
that was
deep.
good.
That was pretty deep.
That was a moment of self-reflection.
We're gonna
That was a little much. It's been a long day.
we're gonna fill you guys in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to
Um,
hear about your adventure.
Agnes is gonna start eating.
Yeah.
So first off, there are a bunch of dwarves in the temple across the street.
Do you know them?
My brothers
We're
and
trying to get
No,
to
no,
know
no. I know him.
You know him?
They're my clan.
His clan. I wouldn't know. Everyone's speaking Dwarvish or Nordic, and
Maybe you should let him tell the story.
okay, fine.
Agnes starts choking on her noodles.
It's the most mom
First,
moment
let's go
in
back.
a while.
So, we met some men at the fountain. They were looking for a particular dwarf. I didn't pretend to be him at that moment. We ended up going to the scribe. I had my letter written, sent out. We learned that a certain group of dwarves was staying at the temple. And I don't know if you noticed, but it's a very Nordic temple. Tyr was represented, Ode was represented, Sif was represented, Thor was represented. So very at home, as awkward as I feel right now. Sent my letter, which sum it up really quick. I sent it to my father,
That's
the
not good.
leader of the Ironbreakers, but it's coded.
Oh.
Okay.
So like they don't know. I would never send my name because I'm not allowed either. Basically, telling them that the battalions we found are dead. We emptied the cave out, ruined the tower, and that we're working on the cold vein problem.
Mhm.
You're not allowed to be
At that moment,
here.
Astrid sort of sticks her head in, and she says, "Manjway, love, throw a couple logs on the fire. It's getting awfully cold. It does at night. We can spare a few more."
So I do.
And you told us your story on the way here, right? Like the rest of.
Yeah.
So we know what you mean when you
Showing
say
you
you're not allowed
around the
I
there.
heard
clock.
other people talking. No.
Yeah, it's-
Okay.
She is.
So yes, you guys would understand.
We would,
that.
yeah, we'd
So
understand.
they would
not
join the
being
drain.
allowed.
Would understand. So send the letter. Went and got these. I'm gonna show the axe and this shield from blacksmith. Nice guy. Has
Not
horses as
approval.
well. That's where the whole horse comes from. People buy horses to eat them. 'Cause there's not
Good
enough
find.
food. Nice guy.
I don't like
The
horses.
scribe is also a nice guy. He let slip that there were dwarves in the temple, which is why we went to the temple. So we're kind of picking. We've learned that nobody likes gold.
And that she hangs out in the keep all the time.
She's not very likable.
Agnes, can you give me a wisdom check?
So she's probably there. So all we have to now
Oh, I
figure out
need
is
to
how to
reroll
get
that.
in there
That did not come out at all.
and burn her up.
I'll use this time.
Also, her dragon's back.
11.
You faint. Your body goes limp and you collapse.
Was that the mention of a thing?
You don't have any sense that anything triggered it. Just all of a sudden.
This
you
is.
Seagrin's next to her again, so I guess I'm gonna try to catch you.
collapse. And at the sound of that crumpling body, Astrid comes running in. What's that? Oh
Our,
gosh, she's down again.
Wait, is that a new thing for her now?
you remember
Oh,
that
we should
snake
probably tell you about the snake.
The snake.
This
A
snake.
snake did that.
You-
Would you get bit?
You remember the snake that got away?
The
From
really,
that-
oh yeah, the really
that-
boring show. Yeah.
It
oh
darted-
right, you were paying
Agnes is
attention.
just lying in a crumpled heap.
Yeah.
Steven's
Oh,
kneeling
Steven's
next to
tending to
her,
her.
seeing her,
Okay.
turning
Yeah.
to Manjway, like, do you have anything that
Manjway
can
is
help her?
Yeah.
So it's smelling
Some
salts.
smelling
So
salts.
So
Fetch
Astrid-
the smelling salts.
Astrid has been near beside Manjway and Sigrid when they're over Agnes, and Astrid says, "You should take her to her room. Her friend is waiting there."
Her
Friend?
Friend?
I thought I paid for privacy.
What friend?
Who's friend?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I thought she was with you.
Who?
Forgive me.
Who?
What?
Who?
What?
Holy
She. Describe them right now.
I thought you were all.
What's her
I
name?
thought you were all together. I'm very
No,
sorry.
but just
Just tell us
who
her
she
name,
is.
and I won't do anything.
I will
bad.
not intrude in your business anymore. And she turns. She's clearly
Holy
she's white
shit.
with fear, and she turns.
Fuck.
Okay, I'll tell my story later.
It's
I'm
rat
gonna
time.
go
Let's
to the
take a
room.
party.
Oh, yeah,
scene.
Steven's already.
Oh my god.
We're going to the
Are
room.
we fighting in the inn?
Yeah, which
Yeah.
room is hers?
Which
Yeah,
room
we're
is
gonna go to
hers?
the room.
So it's the last
Oh my
room.
God, of
on
course
the-
it is.
Um,
Better not
Actually,
left
you
side.
probably all should take point because I was going to set the house on fire.
Yeah.
Unless you want me to
I'm
do
right
that.
up front.
Yeah, please don't.
Well, Seagrin's already
I-
rushing down. You think you know who it is? I
Well,
think.
you're unconscious, aren't you?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I can't do anything.
All right, I'm
So
staying
you-
with.
Better
No,
excited.
no.
Staying
Are
with
you-
her.
I'll
I'm
stay.
excited
for following
Otherwise, I'll set the house
I'm
on
front.
fire.
If I can
You're
get
Well,
good.
Seagrin was at the door, so
Okay,
she
then,
darted
yeah.
out.
Okay.
I'm going
I'll
to
go.
say you all take care of this because I'm useless.
So you
wood.
walk in the room. You're
take
carrying
him
Agnes.
Oh, no, we're gonna.
No,
we're
we're
gonna
No,
not
be
we
being
back.
left her behind.
I'm going to stay with
We're not
Agnes.
carrying her.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
okay.
left her behind.
Okay.
Dangerous.
Because we don't know who it
Yeah,
is.
who it is.
Right.
Okay.
And I guess
We're going to check the scene.
Yeah, just leave the unconscious
So
Agnes in
you-
the
See?
With,
Parker.
with
Yeah,
capable
Does anyone have
Morgan.
any light source?
Favorite person.
Well, Ziggy
I can
has
see
dark
it.
vision,
He's
I've
going
got
like
dark
this.
vision. So wait a second,
You
just so
hate
I know,
me.
Agnes is there. Morgan is staying with her.
Uh-huh.
Maybe
Ironically.
Kajal, Sigrid, and
You hate
and
me.
Manjway are going
I
to the
kinda
room.
hate
She's
you.
the first to
When
see
you
her
open the
thinking down
door,
conversation.
Sigrid and Kajal staring with their dark vision, and they see a kind of very small, kind of hunched figure standing in the center of the room. And it looks to you like the woman that was on the stage, Rubati, the Harridan,
I pass the
the
torch
snake
up.
charmer.
a torch.
Holy crap.
Seagrin takes it because she's in the front,
Okay, yeah.
I guess. And she comes in.
all of a sudden the room lights up and you can see she looks exactly as she did on stage, and she looks and she goes, "Where's your friend?"
On the floor, I assume because of your presence somehow.
"She probably needs rest. Why don't you put her in the bed?
How would you know that?
Bring the sorcerer too."
Who are you? Look it over.
Now.
Who are you to
Well,
make
you could
demands?
try-
While there's time.
You could try, please.
Time for what?
Or not being so cryptic.
Who are you?
I need to see her to see if she'll be okay.
I'm gonna start poking her out of boredom.
I thought you didn't come with us.
No, I'm poking her.
In
Oh,
the
Actually, just as an aside.
Poking Agnes.
Just going like, you're really out, aren't you?
We don't know you. You have to give us some evidence. You
And I don't
intend
know
to harm
you,
her.
so we are equal.
But
it's
you're
one of
asking us to entrust our friend's care to you.
And it
is
was one of
I
your
am a
snakes that
harmless
hurt
old
her.
woman.
But your snakes
snake
aren't
did
They're
harmless.
running out of time. And so are you.
Time for what?
I'll go get her. So I'm gonna run downstairs. Morgan.
Yeah?
Let's go. There's the snake woman's upstairs and she wants to see Agnes.
Or down the hall. It's
Down
small.
the hall. Sorry.
Why?
We don't know. They tell us to just need her.
Oh, and you're gonna trust a creepy old lady with snakes.
No, I'm gonna cut her head off and when she doesn't look freaky.
Oh, I want to see that.
So
And then you could blow the head up again.
Oh my
I'm gonna
god.
pick up
Throwback.
Agnes and walk her into the room.
Right.
So
I'm
like,
still
gonna-
out cold.
I'm gonna-
Seagrin's kind of
Can
suspiciously
I start
Come
going
over.
around
So
the
the
room?
old woman kind of comes forward with her sort of pumping lips and she goes, "Hey, put her on the bed. Put her on the bed."
What are you gonna
Check
do?
the bed to make sure there's
What
no
are you gonna
snakes in
do?
Who the hell are you?
I'm Rubati, the Harridan.
keep dropping Morgan.
That means literally nothing to any of us.
So she sort of stretches out Agnes on the bed, sort of feels her forehead,
Did you put her on the bed?
No.
sort of opens her eyes.
She- What?
This is interesting, isn't it?
What are you doing?
Who are you?
Who are you? Your name means nothing to us. You haven't explained anything about yourself.
She's Rubati, the Harridan.
Oh,
Whatever the fuck
Okay,
that
at this point,
is.
I'm actually gonna put my battle axe, like the heft of it, like the blade, on her shoulder.
She looks at you and says, "Rest easy, Kajal." The wig comes off, and she pulls out her glass eye,
Fuck yes!
and it's Isha.
I knew it! I fucking knew it!
She says,
I mean, the snake was kind of the good one. I had a feeling. I think I called it.
Holy crap!
"Nice to see you, my friends."
I literally bear hug and tackle her.
Holy crap! They were her.
I have no idea what's going on. Neither
no,
does Agnes.
I would a little bit.
Yeah.
I would know who she was by
Just
description.
association. Yeah.
Right, had anybody but I
Well, now I feel
been
bad.
around for
not the old stories.
Pass that to Veronica.
Oh my god!
Veronica, you're gonna be like interacting with your own
I'm
character.
totally fine with that. Holy shit!
So,
So
so Agnes and Isha have had a meeting of the minds through one of Isha's serpents, who she, in fact, has, through a magical ring that's been given to her, has turned into basically extensions of her consciousness. And in a moment of telepathic communion, Isha and Agnes realize that they have an opportunity to completely merge consciousness if they choose to.
Holy shit!
what?
But Agnes is afraid, obviously, that there's a sense of fear in her, in you,
Yeah.
as to what this might hold. But basically, you watch as this long moment takes place where Isha and Agnes are staring into one another's eyes in some sort of telepathic communion.
So is Agnes like? Is her body dying?
She would
You're absorbing
she
her
would have a
soul.
sense that her consciousness could vacate
The
her body and join with Isha's in Isha's body, or Isha could join with Agnes in her body, or the two could represent could continue to be separate.
What the hell?
So
But, like,
which is
help,
which
but, like-
in metagame
Crazy
terms,
shit.
which in metagame terms would be I will NPC
Yeah,
whichever one you didn't want to play, and if you choose to have the characters merge, that's an option.
This is wild. This is
Oh
like
my-
Psylocke in X-Men.
Yes.
Oh my
This
god.
is gonna be wild.
I have to decide this right now.
Ah,
This is such a curveball.
So I'm just.
Dude, I walked over to watch the fucking performance because I thought it reminded me of
Yep.
Keisha.
Mhm.
And
right.
God
right.
damn it, that's
Oh
awesome.
my god.
But we accidentally killed one of your snakes.
Sorry.
Secret was like feeling her absence because there was a snake around.
Yeah.
So I have like a question because what would this mean for class and like so if Isha goes into Agnes's body, she becomes a druid or
Well,
what is this?
Isha, I would say Agnes is somewhat incapacitated at the moment. So
Yeah.
the way I would play this out would be that Agnes will basically sort of occupy a small corner of Isha's mind while she recovers from this shock. Whereas Isha, as a cleric, being familiar with spiritual matters, is more easily to handle it. So
Yeah.
the way we would play this out is that you would play Isha from now on
Yeah.
with the passenger of Agnes, and then you and I would work out the character details
And what happens?
later on.
This
I
is
like
such a
that.
Star Trek
I feel like
moment.
I have to do it just because when else am I going to get that opportunity?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So
yeah.
that is your character, and as you'll notice, she is now a 7th level
Sixth
cleric.
level.
6th level.
Now she's a 7th
What?
level.
She's
It's just-
7?
Check.
She's level.
You
4.
made her higher?
Wow.
Wait,
Check her character.
it's not on here.
At the top of the page, it doesn't
It says
say.
cleric.
Oh,
6.
sorry, cleric 6. You're right. It is cleric.
It should
Excuse
be
me.
6,
Excuse
yeah.
me. You're right. I
Okay.
thought it was 7. No, it's 6.
Okay.
It is 6. But you'll notice she has different spells, and she has taken on the. Where is this here? She has taken on the Channel Divinity War God's Blessing feature at the 6th level.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds metal.
So the rest of you are watching as this moment of telepathic communion, and it's literally 5 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything I've just said is an understanding passed between Agnes and Isha.
I think,
As
yeah.
DM, I need your choice.
I mean, Agnes, at this point, she doesn't know what the fuck is going on. She's freaking out, and also, like, her body is completely
Your
incapacitated.
choices are one, the other, or both.
I mean, I'm happy to play Isha, actually. I was thinking today how much I missed Isha, like, at the end of the session. And then you said that we could figure out what happens
Yeah,
after.
so we'll figure out statistically and characterologically. But Agnes,
And if they can
Agnes,
separate
because
later.
of the shock
Mhm.
and the injury, she's tampered with magic that even Isha
Yeah.
only has a dim understanding of because she has what's called a ring of serpent control.
Mhm.
That's how she controls those serpents with the hand. And so she will kind of rest in a kind of convalescence until we decide what those features will be.
Yeah, let's do it. Fuck it. Why not?
So when this moment passes, Isha turns and explains
Yeah.
what I've just explained to Veronica, and over the course of about 10 minutes, describes how she remained for a time in Uruk, in the court of King Gilgamesh, where these characters last knew her. When a mysterious word came to her of a crisis in the north, an elder god plot to bring down the kingdom of Scandia, and knowing that her friend Sigrun, who hailed from that kingdom, felt she had to act. And rather surprisingly, aid came to her from a Northman who was in the court of King Gilgamesh. You might remember Calador Wolfson, the mysterious figure, turned out to be a sympathetic ally for Isha, and managed to give her more information on this plot and facilitate quick transit to the north. And she goes on to say that she had been gathering information in the city, wondering if perhaps her Red Banner friends might appear.
That's why
That's
why the badges
Yeah,
did
the
that.
badges did
And
Ah.
how
I had
she
goosebumps.
how when she saw you enter the city, she took to the stage to give her act that she's been making pocket money on for a couple of days, and wondered if any of you would be perceptive enough to make the association. At which point Kajal very, very quickly says, I thought of it. And when this story is concluded, there are tears of reunion as the old allies are reunited.
Sigrun's
And Maedry and Majue are like, okay, are we in on this?
Sigrun definitely embraces Isha, and then I think she pulls back a little and does like a forehead touch. And says, I'm sorry about your friend.
I'm sorry about your friend.
I actually would,
I would have done the same
after
thing.
everyone's kind of done with their moments, I would actually
I
go
gave
and
him a
apologize
general
for being short with her.
in the
Yeah.
fire.
I
Yeah.
felt it.
Yeah.
So what would Isha say to that?
Yeah, I would actually come over to you. I would apologize to you for being so short with you before.
No, I really respect that. I mean, you were looking out for your friend, and
You were being pretty shady.
I was, and you have such better instincts than when we first started. I'm so proud of you.
I need to get another beer so you guys get reacquainted, and you might want to check your spell list.
Okay.
I actually have to use the bathroom.
Oh, shit.
Spell list.
I missed Isha.
I
love Agnes, but I missed my best friend.
I know. Oh my god.
Is Morgan not
I think there's character shifts.
Pretty
in
sure
it
the GM mentioned
right
that.
now. And maybe
Yeah.
very short
I know. I was like,
So Morgan's actually.
I
gonna be
love this,
surprisingly
but I
decent.
also was like, oh, snakes. God, I miss Isha.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And probably Gadrell would have noticed that.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
It's
And
on
being a little
other.
bit more
Where the
evil.
heck is eat more snacks, but it's really hard to get out of
Interesting.
because it's like
You
a
can
table.
like
You
reach
can move
over.
the table.
Ooh.
I know.
That's true. You can do that too.
I like
There's a
that.
reason why I said he has Morgan has dark.
So, okay, so, I mean,
I think our
I
DM
mean,
has taught
When's the last time you started a D&D session with one character?
Yeah, I
and did
know,
it with
right?
and
another?
did with another.
you really did read my mind. That's so
There
funny.
aren't a lot in
Um,
here.
So
Let me just
hi,
make sure I
I'm
didn't
Isha.
find
I've heard so much about you.
Yeah,
I'm Adri.
it's there. Do you? Where you're from? Do you shake hands?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Do you shake hands? I respect.
I don't want to presume some people aren't into physical contact. And you know, she said like to Monjwe as well.
And while you're talking, you put your eye patch on.
Yeah,
Because you had this glass eye.
yeah. I don't want to freak anybody out.
Yeah.
We should probably apologize to Astrid too.
Oh yeah.
It's okay. I bought the inn.
We didn't buy the inn. We
I
just bought the rooms.
I basically bought the inn. I could buy the inn.
She's been
She just introduces herself and offers
Okay.
a hand,
And
if that's-
she bows.
And
instead
so
of shaking
Isha
hands.
bows as well. Okay.
Let's just say I had a feeling she was here from the beginning. I'm not so
And then I say, where? Okay, wait. So you've already described that you and Agnes are now one.
I want to kill the dragon.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
explained.
Alright.
We're kind
I
of.
want
She's a
Ragnar out of
passenger in my
Okay,
mind,
right.
in my consciousness.
I feel like this
And
is
I wanna
such
know
a
what the
Star
others are
Trek
doing.
moment.
Your
Right.
handsome
Have
smells like
priorities.
Christmas.
Isn't it?
Just
It does.
saying.
It's very nice.
I know. It was for Christmas though sometime.
so.
Not this Christmas.
So, Isha, you actually feel periodically
Several years
Agnes's consciousness in your brain,
Yeah.
looking on with kind of like awe at what's taking place.
Yeah.
All sort of, and all of a sudden you feel a peculiar sympathy of all things for Morgan with his curious voice in his head from
Mhm.
time to time. And you say,
Yeah.
this is what it must be like.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I should.
Which is so funny because literally Agnes was gonna like apologize to him and like it be like this. There's some weird shit happening, and I feel like Morgan would know what it is.
Of all people who would
Of all.
understand.
Which actually reminds me, he probably would be tapping in because.
That's why she was thinking about saying something to him, wasn't
Yes.
it? Okay.
Yep.
That's why she almost stopped.
Yes.
Oh, wrong thing.
Oh, so
Oh shit! I'm ashamed.
oh, this is kind of odd.
96 for Elder Sense. Pointed at Coldbane.
Yeah, you actually, you have a vision.
Oh.
You have a vision of Ragnar Colbane in a room. And there's, the room is ice cold and there's icicles on the wall. And she's like wearing like a sleeveless dress, pale skin. And she's sort of looking around at papers. And there's numbers and strange languages on the papers.
Do I recognize any languages?
Yeah, some of them are the domestic languages, Nordic, Gaelic, strange tongues. Some look a little bit like the dwarvish characters you saw earlier in the day. And then all of a sudden, she kind of looks up, and in your vision, she actually kind of locks eyes with you. And you wonder whether she happens to be looking in that direction, or whether she is aware of your vision in that moment. And then she looks away, and the vision fades, and you hear a whispered voice as the vision fades. Storm is coming. And then you come back to the room. At that moment, there's a knock on the door.
He's actually going to walk out of the room and start heading towards Astrid.
So you open the door, and Astrid is actually standing in the hallway. Is everything all right? You're all crammed in that tiny room.
What does a storm is coming mean?
Nothing. Weather.
Tell me.
It's weather. Bad weather.
No, everyone's been saying it.
Astrid, we really appreciate your hospitality, and we're sorry about the craziness, but we would also really appreciate it if you were honest with us. I think we're all on the same
Remember
side
I paid
here.
you for...
You're a very kind little person.
Remember I paid you for privacy and information? Now I'm asking for the information.
Meanwhile, Isha's no longer like an old lady.
So Astrid's probably like,
Young, beautiful.
Yeah. Kind of gnarly looking though.
He
Some
looks around.
with like one eye that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
There's talk in the streets that Ragnar has something horrible planned for the city. It will freeze us all, once and for all. They're calling it the ice storm.
like the dwarves.
Well, the good news is
I
we
say
don't
that
like
out
her. And you say ice? I like fire.
I get it.
God. Good job.
It's someone of some kind.
Stop. No, we're not going there.
He says, that's what most people do. Some of us know another storm is coming.
Another storm.
This is like a...
Go to the wharf at dawn. She turns and leaves.
We have a lot of appointments to keep tomorrow.
Appointments to keep.
1 hour afternoon, I must meet the dwarf. Is it acceptable?
Well, at
Wait,
least they don't overlap.
1 hour.
Dawn.
You can see like Morgan like trying to make a
Yeah,
clock.
clock.
Okay, we have 5 hours to talk to the... No, 7 hours to talk to the...
No, Dawn is first.
Dawn first.
Yeah, I know. It's a wharf.
What time is it?
It's like 2 a.m.
Okay,
We should rest.
we should.
I'm not going to get a full 8 hours.
No, but something.
Some things, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
Do we have any sense of when dawn comes here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it comes early.
Yeah. figured.
So
Or
I'm going to go to the
daylight.
bathroom as well, and then
I'm gonna like, wash my
Take
face.
a
Yeah,
bottle.
yeah.
you,
I'm
have,
gonna-
you have times for short rest if you want
okay.
Yeah.
We're
I'm
probably
gonna-
gonna wash his face and take a short rest. Like
Yeah,
an
I'm gonna
hour.
wash my face, my hands,
to. Okay.
clean up some of the pots and pans, and then take a short rest.
Okay.
I just
You're
realized
so good.
I don't leave
two
a mess.
things. Well,
You
one
cook,
thing
you
was
don't
that
have to
she multi-classed
Some
into
rules.
paladin
Right.
instead of.
Oh, those are the
So
rules.
should she
Those
be
are the
like
When
a
did
level?
she multi-class into paladin?
It was back before the end of the.
She was
last
one
season.
level at a paladin.
Well, that was
rules.
like a 5th level character sheet that I had.
Yeah.
So and I
So she
didn't
would
know.
have 5 because she did. We all leveled up into 6.
Level up.
Right.
Yeah.
So she would have been level 5 and then plus 1 level in paladin
Oh, as opposed to cleric
as opposed
6.
to cleric 6.
Oh, okay, all right.
So we'll just have to.
You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say that her experience in Uruk did not allow her to pursue that.
That's fine.
So she's sitting at cleric 6 because she did allow advancement in there.
Mhm.
But certainly you can shift to that track.
That's fine.
Yeah, no, in Uruk there wouldn't be much opportunity to pursue that. She was,
Be like a holy knight.
yeah, well, her clerical skills were constantly being called upon.
Yeah.
So,
So she kind of like so it would be like she leveled into that in the dungeon, but then like kind of let that slide. And
yeah,
then
but you couldn't
leveled
build
back
upon
up
it. So
again.
she's sitting,
Like an
she's
old
paladin,
Right,
paladin
yeah,
1
it's at
with
your feet.
0 hit,
That makes
0
sense.
XP in that. So,
Yeah.
Like, you also say she repurposed it.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
Also, I don't think she had a glass eye. She just had a glassy looking eye. But we
No,
can
the
also
glass
decide.
eye was her disguise as the
Okay.
Bubati the Harridan.
Because she still had an eye.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a disguise.
Kind of bulbous thing.
And she
Like
also
cat.
has a wig, an old woman's wig. So
Yeah,
the whole
yeah,
thing is
okay.
the whole cloak, the whole garb is.
She had like a cover over
Yeah,
the.
she had everything. She was like one of
blindness.
those ping pong ball sort
Like
of
a-
things.
yeah, like a
you put
cat.
over
I
her.
like your thinking here. I'm like that too. I feel like I want to know.
I just
exactly
wanna
how this
clarify.
happened.
Yeah, no, it would. The whole thing's a disguise. So
might
she would
describe it.
basically, it was like a glass half globe that she
Perfect.
would put over her eye, and it
Like
was
what
very
Little Bray has.
convincing.
Yes.
Mhm.
And of course, the hand is all a glove, you know,
Yeah.
and the fake nail,
I love it. Oh
Yeah.
my god,
and
it's exciting. She just Robin Hood. She had so much fun with that. Back to her circus routine. That's what I thought of her when she started juggling. I was like, that's so Isha. What
Well, I
the
have to
fuck?
be quite frank. I always got the impression there was one session we had where I could tell Veronica wanted to perform like a skit, and I thought there would be some city would have a stage. So the frustrated aspirations of Isha were responsible for that little architecture in the corner.
That's so perfect. Okay.
So who's betting down? Kajal, Morgan?
Well,
Yeah.
Secret wants to stay near Isha.
Yeah.
Before I bed down,
I would
have
imagine you
to-
two staying up all night, sort of swapping stories.
Yeah.
I
At
asked
least
Isha-
most of the night. Maybe you get like a little bit of rest in there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Before we go to sleep, I ask you kind of what your
you do.
strengths are in fighting, because I think we're about to fight.
Oh, you know, a little bit of murder, a little bit of healing. Bit of that.
You know, the use.
Whatever needs to be done. Usually making sure these guys don't die.
Oh, and the other thing, I don't know if I made a note of this in your character sheet, but your serpents, your beloved serpents, are actually now under your control.
Mhm.
Like you have a
You
ring.
got snake.
What
I have
happened
5
to the
left.
dead serpent?
What's that?
What happened to the dead serpent?
I
We
think
burned
it's-
I put it in the fire as kind
you
of
put it
a
on fire.
Right,
respectful
I remember
disposal
that
of the
part.
remains.
Right.
But it really was dead, so we did
It was
end up
dead.
killing
It was
one of
It was
indeed
dead.
dead.
So you have a ring that was given you. You can make a note of this in your character sheet by King Gilgamesh. It's a ring of serpent control. It allows you to psychically commune and relay commands to your serpents,
Just my serpents.
just your serpents.
Okay.
So I have 5 left now, right? Or did I get others?
You have others.
How many do I have total?
I'm going to say you have.
Oh man, where does
Are
she
they
carry
all
them
on
all?
my head now?
Yeah, like how do
they
you
go wherever
carry
you're
them?
welcome to go. You have
Okay.
4 more.
Put them on your
Okay,
head.
so I have
9.
9. Oh, that's a perfect amount.
I really is.
That's exactly the amount of servants anyone should want to have.
The only amount of servants. 9.
I express my condolences on the loss of your
Not
serpent
10,
Yeah,
Nine.
9.
because his Mondre feels deeply
Check this
about.
out. Just actually
animal
see whether you can. Can you actually still see? Yeah, that's pretty good moonlight.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
You can
Yeah, it looks
totally
real nice.
see Jen.
Oh, I know. It did wear a white shirt.
So
Snow.
do you do anything overnight, or do you
Aw,
simply
man.
rest?
Yeah, I'm resting.
Short.
Morgan's resting and probably musing on the vision he had.
Yeah.
I get up and have a
You're
snack.
really, really troubled by whether Cold
I'm
Pain was
unsettled.
aware of your vision or was just a
Well,
happenstance.
Morgan's dealing with a lot going on in his head right now, and I hope he caught on to some of the changes I brought already.
Secrets actually, while talking to Isha, at some point she confesses that she
Look at your
regrets.
fucking glow in the
I
dark
know.
eyes. Look at your glow in the dark
You're
eyes.
so
That's amazing.
That is
So great.
That is so rave.
So glad. Yeah, we all need some now.
I know.
What is
Should invest
She-
in some.
Confesses that. Well, she tells her about Felgrun,
Yeah.
and confesses that she regrets not confiding in Felgrun who she really was before she died. That happens somewhere in the night while they're talking.
That's why you can read your character sheets still.
Oh, yeah.
Do they rest at all, or do they talk all night?
I don't think they talk all night because
Yeah,
they know that they
they know
need
it's
some
important to
rest.
rest,
So
And
They're also probably used to watching guards.
You
So as
only
soon as
need
they're-
an hour for
So
a short
do-
rest.
yeah,
Yeah.
Does one regain some hit points from a short
Only if
rest?
you use the hit die.
Hit
You
die.
got to use a hit die, which you can do. It just means the next time you want to get hit points back from a short rest, you'll have less hit die. So
you hit that equal to your level, and you just roll like I
yeah.
think you're D8, so you roll 1 D8, you're saying 1 hit die.
So overnight you
That's how
get
much
4
you
hit
get
points back.
Okay.
I think monks are D8, right?
Plus your constitution.
Plus constitution bonus.
So, how many of you? So, Sigrun, you stayed awake for a portion of the night.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with
You with your rogue's ears, particularly in your elvish hearing, overnight, you hear heavy footfalls outside the windows of the room, and you pick up that faint scent of orc that you had picked up earlier, and you get the impression that the streets were just crawling with orcs.
Fucking works everywhere.
And it's sort of you get a sense of outrage, the idea of a Scandian city where orcs are walking freely through the city. It kind of bonds you. And of course, with your acquaintance with Ragnar Coldbane, it outrages you all the more.
Fuck her. She's the worst.
Are you saying this out loud?
No.
We're all
Okay.
sleeping.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Is
get
anyone
up for,
doing anything overnight?
I get up for a snack at least once.
For second dinner?
I feel like
Yeah,
Isha and
midnight
Sigrun are
snack.
probably kind of sharing a room.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, you can decide. There's 4 rooms,
Four
so you can
rooms,
decide how
so-
you want to break it down.
I will eat snacks with you in the middle
Okay.
of the night.
I guess.
Yeah, I just get up, I go get a snack, and I
Yeah,
just bring in.
I guess
bring
Morgan
that
Kajal would
portion
share a
for
room,
you.
Yeah.
which Kajal probably knows
I
that
just
Morgan is
know.
often staring out the
Yeah.
windows and just
Can I just
watching
from a
things.
narrative point of view, I'm really
Thank
interested. What would Kajal and Morgan
They
talk
have to sleep
about
over.
seeing Isha again?
Right.
How
Well,
would
that's
they?
that's the thing though.
We
That's
have
what.
to-
That's a good question because he was being very
What do they do?
cold to her return.
Right.
I asked
Kajal
you
is
in the middle of the
perturbed
night
by
if you liked the noodles.
Bothers the shit out
They
of
were
him
delicious.
because
Or
like,
if you
I'm
really
excited.
liked
Does
the
Kajal
noodles.
say
No.
anything to
yeah, we
I
kind of
did
had a
not
conversation. I was like,
And
I don't
it's
like
what
food.
Morgan
I'll
claims.
well,
That he kind of felt it coming.
They're
Really?
very
He had a
good.
he's
feeling.
not
You might have to get
surprised.
your
Yeah.
write down
And
recipes.
his lack
I
of outward.
Because
don't
me,
know how
with
I'll
my
get my hands
when
on
he
those
saw the
noodles.
snakes, he said to
Yeah.
himself,
These are
"I've seen snakes before. This
some
doesn't
of the last
Yeah.
ones
me.
that I carried with
like he's
me.
completely unfazed by
'Cause
things,
I
and
don't
he's
know where rice
becoming,
is,
as he will tell Kajal,
other than my
more
home.
obsessed with Coldbane, the Elder, and
Yeah.
figuring out what's going on in the
Perhaps
city.
one day
He
we'll,
almost doesn't care.
travel far
Right.
enough
And that
into
bothers
the
me.
east.
And it kind of, I think the
some
conversations have
rice in a
him
market
focusing
or
on
something.
everything reveals
But I
that.
think
I'm
I
also
would get
curious
over
to look
that,
at me.
So-
and then we would discuss.
I
You know,
would-
So they would sort of
If we
they
ever
would
get that
sort of
chance.
indicate what
In the
their
meantime,
impressions and feelings were
There
based
are
on
other
this, and
foods
then
that I
they
have
would agree
learned
to
to like
disagree,
here.
and then
And
you
focus
guys
on the task.
The
You fall
Nordic
asleep.
stuff is a
Yeah.
little
Yeah, there'd be an awkward silence, and then you would
typical
probably
from
both go to
my
sleep.
personal
It's at about
taste, but,
5:30 in the
Something
morning.
pickled.
Yeah.
The sun,
Oh!
the sun starts.
Gosh,
to,
that hurt.
the sun starts
Well, like-
to come up again,
If you're listening.
Bald.
So
Morgan, he lost his hair.
and you hear
He's got
footfalls in
long
the
black hair.
hallway,
That was
and
He's got like long black hair. probably
Astrid and her
tied up.
daughter spark up
She
the
has
hearth
it.
again, and
Uh-huh.
you smell bacon,
Oh,
You need to
small
go to the
amounts of
wharf.
bacon and egg
Yeah,
cooking.
tiny little bit.
So as they like
How much time
wander
before dawn?
into the
It's dawn.
It's
No,
done.
it's
We
not
gotta-
dawn, but the sun's.
We
The
gotta
sun's
go to the wharf.
you have the
Yeah.
pink. You have the pink fingers of dawn showing out on the edge of the.
Shall we take? Can we take some breakfast to go?
yeah.
Will you be joining us at the wharf?
So you say that?
Yes,
Astrid looks and goes, "You didn't hear that from me."
of course.
More by mid-morning. The winds have not been favorable.
Oh, a boat.
Boats coming in.
But she's not worried about it, so I wouldn't worry about it.
No, but
Morgan, my man, my son. I'm guessing that's not a dye job.
No. Natural.
He lost all of his hair and it grew back that color.
just in the middle of the fight, just
It's just gone.
gone.
It's a look.
It was.
I like it, actually.
And
I mean, I don't mind being,
Yeah.
being
He used to
having
be
another
like
brunette.
the
Yeah.
change in Morgan is
Fiery
another
ginger.
thing Sigrun definitely would have brought up.
But yeah.
and now it's like
talking.
dark black. His
Yeah.
skin's paler than it used to be.
Oh, okay. Is that part of your change since the last session, or?
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
probably have happened over the traveling.
Mm-hmm.
He was changing slowly
But now
over a
it's
while,
like-
and then he lost all his hair, and then
Right, I remember the hair loss part.
As you see the sort of light
It's got
of
beard,
dawn
too.
now coming in through the windows, you hear the clatter of horse and wagon in the street, footsteps on the cobblestone. The city comes to life. The odd rooster calling through the streets.
Yeah.
Talk. Merchants are setting up their shops.
Yeah, I was gonna look out the window
Well, she
first.
said
Yeah,
it
the
must be
city's-
until
the city's
mid-morning
come to
now,
life
so
again.
we can eat.
What do we
first.
do with Agnes's body?
So
Oh yeah.
yeah, Agnes is sort of fading.
So she's
Like literally out of
disappearing into the
existence?
ether.
No,
Like
her
dying.
body is getting cold, slightly
Okay, so
colder.
her
No.
body.
She's
and
comatose.
Yeah, she's comatose.
Is there anything like if we feed her or anything like that?
Like, should
Well,
we do
so
that?
Astrid at length comes in and says, "Your friend appears to be ill. I can call for the healer, or we can make sure she gets some broth, or maybe some of your friends' fine noodles."
That sounds like about the only thing we can do right now.
Yes.
So
And
please
who
make sure
are you
she's-
anyway?
Hi, I'm Isha.
I see.
I'm an old friend.
Very
See,
old
How
friend.
did you get in? Never mind. Mr. Morgan, will you be paying for your larger party?
How much did I have to pay you originally? What was your going rate? We never actually discussed terms.
Also, Agnes has like
I think it was
82 gold.
5 GP each per night.
Okay.
If you are going, right?
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I gave you 90 gold.
Yes.
I think we're covered.
Yes, I think we are. And by the way, have you met my daughter?
I giggle at that because as a hobbit, I know a matchmaking mother when I see one.
So let's just
What's
say,
happening to
let's
your
just say I don't
character?
think she and I will mix very well.
Do keep it in mind. She's very single.
She does.
Sigrun's just gonna say she can do better.
She
She
could do
has-
so much more.
She has a gentleman caller in the form of one of the officers of the city guard. I do not think much of him. He's rather spineless, which is a long-winded way of saying he's not on us.
And
But
how
enough
does
about that.
He's what? He's
not on our side.
Well, actually,
Well,
no.
hopefully we'll be back.
Yeah, that's right.
So all of a sudden, Astrid's daughter calls down the hallway.
Mummy! Mummy! And she says, "What is it, dear? Do you know a Balgrim? Over at the temple? Don't say that out loud."
Sorry. Have a
Uh,
good morning.
Astrid, she's killing me.
so bizarre.
I love her.
I'm
She
gonna
knows so
follow
much.
her.
So she
Yes.
turns and she goes back up to the front desk with her daughter, and they're going through the ledger, and they're adding the 90 GP, confirmed from Morgan. And Astrid starts telling her daughter about Morgan and says, "He says he's not looking, but he is."
Mother!
I'm gonna go to the door and open it and like, look both ways on the street to see if I see Balgrin or any
Yeah.
sign of door.
Yeah, your computer just chirped on Christian.
Yeah, don't worry about
It's
it.
still working. I presume.
Okay.
Sorry, what was that, Kajal?
I'm gonna poke my head out the door because she said Balgrin's there, so I'm like looking to see if he was
Perception
at the
check.
door or whatnot. Ooh, 10.
You just see a footstep going out of vision at the side of the building. So you just turn and you see a boot disappear.
I'm gonna.
So you dash to the corner really quickly, and it's ice cold in the morning, but it's starting to warm. But you sort of feel the frost of your breath, and you dash to the corner of the Torvik guest house and peer down, and you just see the door to the Hardanger temple closing.
He said that afternoon. Come back.
I think that Sigrun's gonna be starting to walk up.
Yeah. Actually, can I roll for a perception check to see if anybody is kind of meandering and still, hanging around the wharf area?
Where is
Did
the
you
so
walk
you
out?
come out.
No, I'm looking out the window.
Oh, okay.
Out the window.
Where is the wharf?
This one
The
here.
wharf is where you yourself landed.
Well, there's a wall there.
Yeah.
But would I be able to see, are people, I don't know.
People are coming and going, and you
Yeah.
can see cargo being offloaded, and you see a few little rafts and small boats
Okay.
coming and going. There's trade taking place, and it's literally sort of growing by the minute, more and more active, more and more activity in trading, and you sort of hear more voices going on. And the sun is coming up, and you feel that the city isn't quite so frightening as it was to a little hobbit overnight with the orcs running around and bloodshed.
Yeah.
You actually think to yourself, these are nice folk, and you sort of wonder, what they did to deserve this. And you go into off on a kind of philosophical rhapsody.
I'm gonna look out the
A
window
little
to see
bit of,
what
little bit
happened
of
with the
Book of Job
bodies.
in there.
Yeah,
A
right,
few
yeah.
orcs that I basically burnt or helped burn.
Yeah.
What happened to those bodies?
So the bodies are gone, and
Ah.
you actually notice that the blood has sort of frozen
Oh.
overnight.
Gross.
Morgan chuckles.
It's getting brighter as the sun comes
What
up.
time is
Yeah.
it?
It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. You've had your breakfast.
Yeah.
I guess Morgan's gonna wait kind of by the wharf then.
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of probably leaning on a wall, just kind of seeing what happens with this quote unquote storm
Midday.
that's coming.
I have a feeling that the boat's gonna get there when I have to go wait the doors. So that'll be fun.
Right. So Morgan's gone down to the wharf.
He's
Where's
just waiting
Kajal?
until basically Kajal brings it over to the dwarves.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna
he
turn around.
He wants to go with the dwarves to Kajal
I was
Okay.
gonna turn around to everyone and say we should probably head down now.
because he's not really finding this whole
So
storm
as you
thing
step
with
out
us
into
here,
the sort of mid-morning air, you hear the chatter. It's almost exactly what you saw yesterday when you arrived. The merchants in the same places selling the same stock, the same sort of sense of urgency and peculiar doom. People trying to go through the motions of their day, but there's a strange pall of fear over it. There's a juggler and a sort of a joke teller up on the stage, and there's sort of trade taking place.
Seems like it's almost like they're stuck in a loop.
Our life's pretty boring
Yeah, right.
until the sun goes
Yeah,
down.
I don't know. Get me out of there. I'm gonna.
I mean,
Oh, it's
Seagrin would
weird.
have
You
gone
should
too.
figure
Does
Yeah.
Astrid have access to beer?
What's that?
Did Astrid have access to beer?
You ask her that?
Yeah.
She explains you're going to have to go to a tavern for that, and she says there's Alsig Tavern and there's Torstein's. I recommend Torstein's.
I go back to the market to try to assemble more healers kits.
Yeah,
You're
so
on mission.
Yeah.
you actually cleaned them out
I
yesterday.
cleaned
Oh.
them.
And they
No,
look at
no
you with
stuff.
you show up and they look with a certain amount of dread and they're going, "Oh, we can't keep up with you, whoever you are. Are you running a hospital or something?
Of a kind.
Why don't
yeah,
you and
fine.
Dre Hilda go into business?"
So, I think in that case I'm gonna go back to
It'll be over on
Drahilda.
that team.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. So, are you in the market too? Or are you nearby?
No, I actually probably would have went to. I would go to the wharf.
Okay. So, before I parted from you, I just tell you that I'm going to try to find more healers kits,
Okay.
just so someone knows where the hell I am.
Yes.
Okay, and so I'll head back to
So-
Drahilda.
So you sort of walk through the streets and you see morning activity and people going through the streets carrying carts and things and people coming and going from the Varmup fountain with warm water and people bathing children.
That's this fountain right
yeah,
here.
that's that fountain.
Um,
When you arrive at
wait,
Drain,
this one or this?
the big one, the one that's a hot spring.
No, that one.
That one.
This
yes,
one.
yeah.
No, I'm going that way.
Oh, okay, you're going that way.
But she was at the market
I was
first.
Oh,
over
I see.
here. I went to the market. Then I'm
So,
gonna go
But
past
there's
the
all
building
the sort
with
of
the
morning
green
activity
moss.
going on, and you see people carrying like steaming pitchers of water from the fountain area. But as you arrive at Drahilda, the apothecary, she's actually in the street. She's buying supplies from the back of a wagon that's there, food, bread, coal. Somebody's obviously come in from the hinterland and is selling things in the city, and she greets you really warmly, and she says, "Are you back for more healing supplies? What sort of trouble do your friends get into overnight? Come inside. First we'll have some tea, and then we'll put some kits together."
I love her.
She's so cute.
I'm so sad I can't.
All right, but I also want to see if I've tried to decide if I want to buy anything from the wagon as well. If that looks like it's
So
possible.
Drahilda, actually seeing your eyes turn to the wagonman, calls the man back. "Oscar, back here now! Back up! Back! No, don't turn the horses around. Back them up! Back them up! This young
Oh, I
lady,
love her.
look, she's from the east. She's from far away. She doesn't have this opportunity. There you go. Come on." And those of you in the market at that moment, one of the guards from on top of the guards tower calls down, "A ship! A ship! Big sails on the horizon!
Can I have my
Big sails!"
Alright, I'm going to the wharf then.
We need like
Do
all
I
of our
hear
minis.
that?
I think.
And a man sort of steps out of the guard tower, looks up at the man, and says, "Wolfgar, step down. You didn't see that."
Oh, here's you. No, she's over there.
Shit,
Just not have her on the board for now.
Well,
Just-
actually, maybe we'll see if I hear that.
Probably hang around there.
Where was Kajal?
I don't.
near the wharf, like.
Okay.
So he just hears ship.
Yeah, I'm
Wait,
gonna
wait.
roll by
I'm
that
gonna
too.
roll because I'm also
Okay.
down by the wharf to see if I heard that.
12?
Yeah, you heard it.
Cool.
Oh,
Yeah, you heard
I didn't hear that.
I don't think there's any
I
way
just
I could hear that, right?
Sigrid and Isha.
He announced the ship, but then there's
Too
someone else.
far
coming
away.
along. There's something mysterious about this.
Oh, put me by the Thank you.
And so you're just,
I didn't realize.
shall we
So,
to the wharf?
as minutes pass, you notice that
But
the
like
chatter
what's here,
and conversation
so
in the marketplace is dying down. Sales are discontinuing, haggling stops, there's no performance in the review stand, and people are kind of casually looking over their shoulders at the water. And as the minutes pass, you start to see a large red and white sail appear, bounding over the billowing waves, through the morning mist, through the cloud.
Is there going to be a foreseeable symbol that we would pick
Yeah.
up on?
You can't make it out yet, but the ship slowly grows larger, and you can see it's a dragon ship. And it's eventually you see that it's a red and white sail striped, and there's a symbol on it. It's a large black cloud with a lightning bolt coming from
The storm.
Mhm.
The ship is called the storm.
That's more literal than I was expecting it to be.
This guy's not very subtle.
Yeah, I moved myself over to you too. I saw you also waiting.
And the ship is accelerating through the morning air. Its sails are at full billow, and there's oarsmen you can see now that are rowing at full tilt. And there's several sort of chainmail armed men in steel armor and caps.
Guys, let's
and
fade into
swords.
a more hidden position.
That might
Good
be
idea.
wise.
Under our stealth.
Okay.
I'm just gonna walk.
What are you trying? What are you trying to?
I'm just gonna go walk behind the
Just,
wall.
behind the wall. And
Okay.
Yeah,
All
where
right,
is
give
this
me a
going?
roll on.
where we can still see the ship, but
Yeah.
more
I'm
hidden.
gonna make no attempt.
What is there for me to
Wow.
buy?
So there actually is everything. She's
24.
fully stocked out.
Nice.
And you actually, she gets you to help her as she's putting away all these supplies, and there's stuff that you've never seen before,
Got this.
like thistle
Where did
and
it go?
heather
Cool.
and sort of
Somewhere,
mistletoe
like, hidden, but
and
Alright.
stuff that
go
you
in
don't
and
have
see
in the
the
east.
ship.
Okay.
And then there's weird things like
Place
ox horn
Behind
ground
this
into
lantern.
powder and weird
This is
aphrodisiacs.
here.
You sort of get the impression you could actually learn from this person.
Okay. So I'm gonna.
The ship is getting larger. You can see that it's a dragon ship. And there's a full complement of crew, and there's a man standing on the prow of the ship with this sort of flowing black hair,
Of course.
and he's wearing this sort of very
Let's see if
colorful
Morgan's
plate
not
mail,
hiding, I won't hide you.
and he has a large sword, a very large sword at his waist.
Also not surprising.
So I'm gonna
Just go forward and hide behind the barrel because you're so
Yeah.
small.
Exactly.
Heather, do you think he's overcompensating?
Yeah, that's right. Damn, I wish I was over there.
Just Shrek over here.
Oh,
The ship comes into harbor.
yes.
Oh,
Your elf ship.
oh
Oh,
my.
geez, fully
Amazing.
stacked.
So you're
That's
just
who I
kind
think
of
it is.
leaning
It's
back
actually
against the
blonde
wall
hair.
with their arms crossed, very casual.
What is
right?
actually blonde here?
Across the
That-
bow of the ship.
That character
Yes.
probably actually has blonde
Do you
hair.
want your
If I
maid
remember
back?
correctly.
All right.
Do you
Yes.
want to hold on to your maid?
Long hair, I said.
That's why you're
Isn't
doing
it?
this transition. We want to be him.
No, I'm just
Besides,
digging
I'm
the chances
gonna-
because it actually makes sense for Morgan.
So, written across the bow of the ship, you see the words, and I think only Kajal and Sigurd would know this because they know Nordic speech. But written in Nordic language across the bow of the ship. The name of the ship is Stormwind 2.
2.
He totally would name
Sigurd
it that.
relays that to Isha.
He totally would name it that because he's not creative.
The ship lands, and you notice it gets the whole market and the whole wharf gets quiet as the ship slides effortlessly, and the oars of the sailors all bounce up to allow the ship to come sort of into its mooring. And the man on the bow, with his long blonde hair and his plate mail and his gleaming broadsword, climbs the ladder, steps onto the wharf, and over his shoulder He looks back at some of the men on the ship. He says, Oswald, Brandir, Frederick, Keitel, Steiter, come with me. The rest of you men, stay close.
Seagrin flips up her hood for the first time in a while. Just because.
She has hers up.
I'm behind the barrel.
So, Monway, how many healer's kits can I make?
Two.
2 more?
2 more.
Okay. So,
2 more.
and then what is possible to get off of the back of the cart?
So just put any food stuff, bread,
Okay.
butchery. There would be other herbs.
Okay.
There would be decorative flowers.
Okay. I'll get some bread
Right.
and like a few pounds of meat.
So who's actually watching the wharf right now?
Everyone
we're all
but
in the war.
Monjwe.
Everyone but
So
Monjwe.
give me perception checks.
So, and then I thank her and tell her I'll be back.
Unnatural.
11.
I see
Unnatural 20.
nothing. I see
23. 23, yeah.
6.
6.
That's alright.
Seagrin, Morgan, and Kajal, and you rolled
11.
Seagrin, Morgan, and Kajal
The
actually
only one
hear
eye. I'm very short.
the obvious captain of the ship, under his breath to one of his men, says, "Go on to the Hardanger Temple. Let them know I've arrived."
It's this guy, right?
And
now
Asphalt,
definitely.
Asphalt, his sort of right-hand man, sort of goes trotting underneath the archway between the guard towers towards the temple.
What time is it?
About 11,
Did you say hour before noon or hour after noon?
an hour after.
So Monway is heading back toward the wharf.
Right. So you pass.
We just hold on to her for now
Would it-
until
Like,
she
would it
gets
stop
here.
like a crouching tiger fly.
Right, crouching
She
tiger
jumps
and dragon.
across
Does she do that? Does she go over the roofs?
Yeah, she does.
Yes, she does.
Amazing.
Actually,
I love how quietly extra she is.
yes. So quietly extra.
Like,
So
when
you
you least
actually
expect
see this strange newcomer coming in from the wharf from a ship, and he doesn't see you as you bound over the roofs, but you see him pass, and he's just going into the Hardanger Temple
Right
as
here.
you come down off the roofs.
Okay. She slides.
Lands gracefully. Silent.
No statue.
Okay. So, and then she's going to just keep heading, make a mental note, but keep heading until she finds someone in the party.
So
Are you obviously agitated?
I actually would have followed
Oh, okay.
somewhat lazily behind him
Morgan would be
in the direction of the
has been
temple.
agitated ever since
Um,
the dragons.
Well,
And then I'm just gonna
Yeah.
lean up against
And it's
the
gotten
edge,
actually worse.
Okay.
staring
Like,
at
it
the
went from being
temple.
low-key to
Okay.
actually being
All right.
physically
So I watch him
frustrated.
go into the temple,
Yeah.
and just kind of lean against the temple.
Almost
Okay.
all the time.
Literally gonna
That's
wait
why he's being
until it's
very
my
aggressive.
time to go in.
This
Okay.
inn right here?
No, where
Oh.
we stay.
And
Oh,
probably
that inn. Okay.
you would know
I'm
better than
walking
anyone else
that
because
way.
Agnes would be suspicious of it 90% of the time.
Yeah.
and you have that like in the back of your mind.
So you notice that the
It's
captain
true.
of the
Isha
ship
knows
and
Morgan pretty well
his
anyway, and
his
Agnes
4
is not.
remaining warriors is
And
sort
Seagrin
of
told her all about how he's changed a lot.
walking slowly into the
She's
sort of
just
market
actually
area.
like a hawk.
And you
That's why
notice
you
that this
didn't hear
man
the
is
track.
walking with a kind of sort of a very upright posture, and he's sort of looking around rather boldly at people. He doesn't have this kind of sort of skulking look, that broken down look that so many people have. And all of a sudden it sort of dawns on you that the utterly clean armor, the clean hair, the gleaming broadsword, and you think that this is a great sword. Great sword. And this person has sort of very scrupulously varnished and polished their appearance. And then you actually notice there's certain iconography on his mail coat and sort of belt buckle of the goddess Sif. And you wonder whether this is the scrupulosity of a paladin. The scrupulousness of a paladin. And he's sort of going with his 4 retainers through the marketplace, and he's looking at things, and he stops and he haggles with people, and then he doesn't buy things but tips them anyway. And then he says, "The blessings of the younger gods be upon you."
Oh, he is bold.
Doesn't give a single
None.
Isha kind of admires that.
And after about 10
I'm not
minutes,
surprised.
after about 10 minutes, he
I've been
turns.
following him.
After about 10 minutes, he turns with his 4 retainers,
Isha's
and he begins to walk, and they're sort of walking behind him. And he walks out of the marketplace underneath the archway and walks towards the Hardanger temple.
I don't know.
I've been following him this whole time.
Then Borga would be close behind.
And he's,
Then I think I'm gonna run into you because I'm.
and
going
he's walking
in there.
towards the door of the temple.
I'm just picking 4 random standing up guys.
I'm just I'm walking where Sigrun's going. Because I stick out like a sore thumb anyway.
As usual.
Always.
I'm gonna fall in step with you too.
Right.
There you are.
Behind
I
the
couldn't
barrels.
find you. You were behind the barrel.
I'm hiding so well.
Okay.
To get you a collab.
Okay.
Right? I really do need one. I should buy one.
Like instead of a bedroll hanging
Yeah.
off the
yeah.
back of your backpack, it's like a little stool.
I think you call
I
it
should
really
have
horrendous
marketed.
scar.
Question.
Disadvantage to.
Excuse me.
I should
Hold
back
on.
to the guy who made the arrows.
Open it up.
So you notice this man stops about 5 feet from the doorway from the door to the Hardanger temple, and one of his men steps forward and bangs on the door. And the little slot comes across.
Did you guys follow too?
Some words are exchanged.
At more of a distance.
Some words are exchanged.
Here.
And the door opens,
Put him over there.
and this man's retainers go through, and then
Oh,
he
it's
follows,
somebody's shield, I
and the
think.
door closes.
Where are you?
Like,
I
where-
was
where did
following
these
his
guys go?
his party. So
we are
like-
probably
Oh, they're his guys.
right here-ish.
Oh, you went with him?
yeah.
I went
I
with
love how
him.
we're kind of natural,
am
naturally
falling into
sex
the-
segregated
Yeah, I know, right?
nonsense. that
Where?
we're
Oh,
following.
wait, where?
So did you
They
just
went
come from
inside
the
the
rooftop?
thing, so you just don't need to put them anywhere really.
On
Yeah.
the ground, or
Yes.
are you on a rooftop still?
I am on
She
the
got
ground, but I was heading that way. So did I run into you? Is the question. I'm gonna say probably.
High, low.
I think. All right. Yeah.
Pick high or low.
Stop.
High, you bumped into us.
high.
Low, you didn't. You bumped into us.
Okay. Great. All right.
You guys
so,
are all together?
So I'll.
No.
No, it seems to be not 3 groups, 2 groups.
Two groups of 3.
Yeah, 2 groups
Yes.
of 3, not 3 groups of 2.
We're just trying to.
So you actually
1, 2, 3.
notice, those of you that are looking at the Hardanger temple,
I am.
that there are
We all are.
candles in all the windows now. And inside you can see there are lights.
I am going to try. This is going to be probably really hard because younger gods and older gods don't mix. See if you can basically use elder vision to see what's going on in there. This is going to be difficult as hell.
Test
I'm
those
pro-
shields.
Yeah.
Test those wards on
I
that
probably
temple.
don't pass because I got a 41. So
No,
I
in
need like a
fact-
95 to
No,
get
in
that.
fact, you feel a kind of strange duplicity and revulsion at the prospect of what you were trying to
Probably he would go.
do. Yeah, what you're trying to do struck you as curiously sacrilegious.
Fucking
But you notice very carefully these nice, large, white, gleaming, thick candles are placed in the windows.
What's going on over there?
Yeah, that's the
Why
most
are you-
For those
lively
of you
I've
who
seen
aren't
that place
paying
since we got
attention,
here.
my dwarves are in there. So whoever he is, he's speaking to them. To
Yeah.
my people.
Right.
So I'm going to sit here until it's an hour afternoon. No, I'm not gonna-
Sits there and watches.
That's literally what I'm doing.
What if
Yeah.
they said to come 1 afternoon because they want us to meet him?
That's probably just that
Well,
one I thought.
I mean, still give them time
But
to
did
talk.
they invite all of us or just you?
No.
Meta, because we're not standing by
Me.
you right now.
Yeah, we're not by you.
Oh,
so
I
we
thought you
wouldn't
guys were
know
biased
this.
by now.
No,
I thought you merged
that's
into
what I
our
thought.
groups.
Oh, we're
sorry.
still
Okay.
separate.
Maybe you
I
could
asked-
assume that our
I
groups
asked
would have merged because we were literally
Yeah.
across the street.
I was trying to not be too suspicious and gathering all 6 of us. Don't
I
be
asked-
suspicious. Don't be
I asked the
suspicious.
2 of you what happened at the wharf and why you're here.
That weird guy with swords and the people in the boat all came in here and basically waltzed right into the temple, and nobody paid any mind to them. And he told me that they actually said, "Don't report the boat coming in,"
He's a
which,
friend.
which means he's a friend and an enemy of Coldman.
I think this is the storm that our friend told us about.
There's another storm.
Well, 2 storms. This is
Oh.
the other storm.
Okay, I guess we're all
I
together
didn't
now.
say anything.
Well, Isha would have walked over because Sigrun, she's making Sigrun look more suspicious anyway.
Look, I didn't
The
say this
three of
last
them.
night, but I saw a vision of Colbane plotting something, and she said a storm's coming. There's 2 storms coming. This is going to turn into a shit show.
Doesn't it always? Everywhere we go.
No, but let's be real for a moment. Colbane's got a dragon. It's going to turn into a bigger shit show than we're used to.
So where is everybody relative to the temple?
Probably about
For like
30,
Veronica
40
can
feet
use
out.
us.
yeah.
Right.
It probably would be
Oh.
maybe closer to here, probably taking a little
Oh,
away
yeah.
from temple, just because Sigrun's like, I don't want to be too
Those
close.
of you that
They
are
probably
listening, just hear the faint sound of singing coming from the temple. It's going to be deep,
That is
these
very
deep
nice.
male voices.
They didn't want you to
She's gonna
interrupt
love
their
nature.
worship.
What language?
Human perception.
But yeah. So
4.
It's Dwarvish.
Okay.
That
He's gonna
alternates
give
with
it to you.
Nordic and World.
Any
Okay, so I'm getting it anyway.
Well, you're getting the speech.
Well, I'm getting to understand that I know the languages.
Actually, it's getting louder. And then you hear, you can barely make out the words. Tears lost hand, tears great hand. Oh, to the All-Father's will. For the loyal son we praise.
He has
You
these all written
feel
down
this
in his
rush.
I would actually try listening more and more, try to
Yeah,
pick it up and actually start
Yeah.
singing it to myself.
yeah. You've heard it
Aw.
before. It's a hymn.
So I'm like, you guys kind of hear me singing along.
So I ask you, what are you singing?
I just sort of look at her and keep singing. I'm having a moment, and she's not going to answer that.
I'm gonna get start praying.
She doesn't really care.
He's just gonna commune with Medusa.
It's a spiritual
Were you
moment
gesturing
for
toward
everyone.
me because you need
Not
me
for
to hiss
Sigrid.
on behalf
Right,
of
no,
yourself?
no. I mean,
It's gonna use more
not
elevation on
particularly
her because
aligned to either.
because
She
bringing up
respects
the
it,
storm
but
Right.
she's never
is
felt
reminding him
like
to check and see if her storm is coming.
All right.
drawn to any
85.
Yeah, you feel
gods
like
herself.
you feel like sick, like physically sick, like you're aware that something. There's a collision of cosmic powers coming. This, you've never felt anything on this scale before, and you've had some pretty major scrapes.
I think the shit's
This is a
gonna come
nexus
soon.
in the history of the cosmos.
And he would relay, this is going to turn into a bigger than we've ever seen before.
All of a sudden, the candles in the windows of the temple are blown out. Some shades are drawn.
Oh. Damn.
Tapestries come down over the windows.
What time is it now?
It's about 12:45.
Okay.
They're
I'm
probably-
actually going to be a little early and go to the door now.
You know, they
I'm
have,
going with
they
the
have a
dog.
coffee
No,
clutch.
no.
Okay.
You're not.
If you want to go alone,
Tries
or
to follow him.
Try me.
No.
No,
This
I'm
is
just gonna
new.
do it by myself for now. You guys are here. You can see this. I'm doing this myself.
A little
So I'm
coffee
gonna go to the
clutch,
door
you know,
and just-
they wanted to have a snack before he showed up.
So there's a sort of a moment that passes, and then finally the doors draw across. You get looked at. The panel goes back. The door opens a little bit, and it's Dalbor. So you came.
Of course I can.
There's some that say you bear shame. That you're not worthy to be here.
I'll take the hood off
It's a
now.
good time to It's all for your shit.
Regardless of my past discrepancies, we have common enemies, and I can help. If you've heard tell of the Red Banner, I'm part of those people. I would take it out and show the badge, and
It
we've
looks
been,
and he goes, we have.
we've been doing our part.
He closes the door. There's a muttering. Is it just you? Do you have numbers?
6 of us.
Trustworthy?
I would give my left hand
Loyal?
to a T.
Check the storm. Summon your friends. We would see them
across the street. All of us start melting out like
Yeah.
the friggin'
Yeah.
the munchkins
Yeah.
in Little Wizard.
Yeah, right. All just start coming out of random corners. I roll out behind the carriage
Secret
wheel.
whistle.
Tumbleweed.
Yeah, tumbleweed.
I wish I hadn't
Yeah.
come off the roof yet because it would have been fun to slide
Yeah.
down it.
Oh yeah, that
At the
was
whistle call.
do like a little backflip. Let's
I
get in
know.
that what?
Thunk.
And then
Right.
So
Okay, she
you
doesn't
all
normally.
come and the door stands open and he looks around at you. And he kind of looks long at Madri. Sort of looks at her.
I'm not gonna.
Sort of Majway at her strange facial features. He looks and then he looks at Madri and her short height. Oh, we're shorter than we are.
Puff myself up a little with that.
And Seagram's got her hood down now.
What's a half elf? You hear this voice say, "Let them in." The door opens. Dalbyr says, "Come forth." So Kajal leads Morgan and Madri and Sigrid, Isha,
Isha.
Ilnis, and
Isha.
Majway in, and you realize that the sanctuary of the temple, where the altar is, it's quite a large group. There's at least 7 dwarves
Huh.
around, along with the blonde-haired captain paladin that you'd observed, and 4 of his men, and a smattering of other nobles from the city. And as Kajal kind of walks in, how would he walk in? How do you walk in?
I mean,
What sort of posture and demeanor?
As-
As you look around and you see that at least 3 of them are Ironbreakers, and 4 of them have the heraldry of the Broadbeard. And you realize this is probably a function of that alliance that you had observed at the Dragon Camp.
as straight and as like proper as this was even possible. Because a long time ago he was a soldier, so he knows how to do it the right way. So literally, like the most proper you've ever seen him walking,
Yeah.
just straight up, like as perfect posture as he can make. Red banner and like his crest for his clan hanging. on
Who's
his neck.
following Kajal?
Seagrin, I think.
Sigurd's following
She'd
next.
be right behind
Yeah, I'll
him.
follow.
Isha's following next. Where's Morgan? Where's Madri? Where's Majway?
Morgan would probably be at the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would also
I had
be at the
I had a feeling
I'll
he
be-
might be.
I'll be behind Isha.
Okay.
I'll follow.
And he's
maybe.
probably coming in arms crossed and unpressed.
So you actually find that the circle actually broadens to admit you, and you sort of take up a space, and you realize that it's fallen rather neatly into quadrants. There's the dwarves, there's the sailors, there's the clerics who run the temple, and then there's like townsfolk, and you just sort of feel this bizarre sort of coming together of disparate elements in this sacred circle. There's this rush of sort of spiritual exaltation. You're in a sacred place, enacting the will of the younger gods in a sort of cosmic struggle. And just the whole weight of what's happened, even in the past 12 hours, a strange sudden appearance of Isha, for instance. It strikes you with this incredible weight. And Dalbor steps forward, puts his hand on Kajal's shoulder, kind of nudges him forward. And he says, Ronir, Kajal of the Ironbreakers has happened to be here with some of his friends. I would have them admitted into the alliance. And Groner looks at you. You've heard of him, but you've never met him before. But he's a dwarf of considerable character. And he looks at Dalbor and says, if you trust him, I do. He looks at the tall, blonde warrior and says, Oren, are you on board with these newcomers? And he looks and says, I'm always on board.
Ah.
Speak Speak on, Gronir.
God, that was awful.
Speak on, Gronir. Gronir says, we come together at a dire time in the history of this kingdom. The witch, the bitch, Coldbane, is conspiring against us. Her elder orbs are freezing the city. The people are skin and bones. They say she is summoning dragons. The city will fall within days. We must act. The blonde sailor says, this is why I have come, and I have brought the sword Requiem. He takes his sword from the sheath, and it gleams, sort of illuminates. He says, it is made of orichalcum, a mineral most potent against the elder and the minions. You all find yourself looking at this
Yeah, I kind of want
this
mine a
gleaming
little bit.
sword.
Giant sword.
You're like, no.
Using the
Yeah,
word
Sigurd and
sword.
Morgan, actually.
We're gonna be actually probably looking away.
And Gronir says, we too have brought our power. Balrim! And a dwarf in gleaming gold armor drops his robe, and his armors are gleaming gold. And he reaches behind him and pulls out this massive box that was strapped to his back. And he drops it in front of him. And he opens it. And the whole room illuminates. And he lifts this gigantic hammer.
Incredible.
Now
And he
Gareth
says,
dies.
This is Jord Lager, the Earth Smasher. The recovered trial piece of Mjolnir forged by Etri, Brock, and Bori in the deeps of time. It has been recovered by my people. One of us must wield it in battle.
Fucking Warhammer.
The blonde sailor looks down, the one known as Orin or Stormwind, and he says, great is this power. We have a pooling of magic here, through which great deeds must be done. Newcomers, what do you offer?
The power of friendship.
Newcomers, what do you offer?
We represent the Red Banner.
We have heard of this.
The fight against the Elder Gods is our fight, as much as it is anyone else's.
It is said the Red Banner are extinct.
We are the new one.
We are the vestiges, stronger than we look.
Gronir says, Kajal, did you speak just now? Are you representing the dwarfs, or are you representing Red Banner?
And he can actually shut up.
Speak on, half-elf. What of this Red Banner? What deeds have you done?
Do you want that chronologically or alphabetically? Because we've done quite a bit. Our most recent encounter was with several of Coldbane's dragons. There were 3 and only 1 survived because it fled.
Are you saying you have proof that she has to do with dragons?
I burned the dragon eggs.
And who are you?
My name is Morgan. I'm their resident sorcerer.
He's quite good with the flaming hands.
Stormwind looks at you, and his eyes actually begin to water. He says, it hurts to look upon you. You have evil in you.
Shit. Everyone looks down hurriedly.
You would find I have a lot of surprises.
His interests align with yours.
I'm prepared to believe this.
We also slew a dragon all on our own, and a chimera. That was fun. Oh, yeah. And an elder god, no big deal.
Do you speak of Kyra?
I speak
Minion
of...
of the evil Rakath.
We speak of Rakath himself.
Rakath, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah, I killed both.
Rakath is dead.
Yes.
Oh, so dead.
Yeah, I burned his body too.
Dead ski.
You slay him.
Yes.
He,
These are great tidings.
At this point, I'm actually like, I look up at this point. Like, yeah, Rakath and I had a real close
Stormwind looks at you and he says, "You have something to do with Coldbane, I think. There is hatred in your eyes when you speak her name."
We have history. I've come to put it to an end.
And your arrival here is fortuitous. We must plan. We have numbers, we have resources, and we have the bitch in her cage.
You're coming.
Do you want to end here for the night?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
It's a
spot.
good spot.
Good day.